Harbor. Oh, where the AFL-CIO meets. Right, go right in there. I'm gonna get my shirt.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry about all the confusion.
No worries.
How you doing today? I'm Sean.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, so
I'm just gonna stay for a little bit.
yeah. This whole studio's soundproof.
So, okay, how long have you been working this house?
Since about last year.
Yeah. Since about last year.
Yeah, you know, because given take some time in between with COVID, I'm gonna go back up to Boston.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Are we in the way?
Hey, Howie.
That doesn't convince you. We can talk about it's just.
Hey, Howie.
Yeah, Taylor.
It's Jared. Did you see this? Tiger Woods is in surgery after the car crash.
He had another car crash?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I didn't know
Out
that.
in L.A.
In L.A.? Not in Jupiter, huh?
No, he's in Rancho Palos Verdes, and they actually had to use the jaws of life to get him out.
Oh, wow. What time was this?
It's probably about half an hour ago they started reporting on it.
Oh, really? So it wasn't like a late night crash or anything. It was just some daylight problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was around 7 a.m.
Wow. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I missed Hestas, but this whole place is gone.
Something that has never.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Today we mark a truly grim, heartbreaking milestone. 500,071 dead. That's more Americans who've died in 1 year in this pandemic than in World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War combined.
It's still going to be months and months of sacrifice, of work, of suffering, unfortunately, in order to get through the pandemic.
If you're trying to scare me, it won't work.
Over 90% of American stories were negative and therefore fear-invoking.
Fear will keep the local systems in line.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Under the guise of a real medical pandemic, we're really moving into a coup situation, a police state situation.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. Taylor is working on the Charlie Parker press conference today. As usual, he's running late. He has a very cavalier attitude towards being on time. Not Taylor, I mean Governor Parker. And, he's got to deliver his inspirational addresses. FDR said the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And Charlie Parker says the only thing I have to offer you is fear itself. Winston Churchill said blood, sweat, and tears. Charlie Parker says blood, sweat, and fears. Fears. I'm just fearful that he's going to be governor for a while longer. Anyway, 844-500-4242. We have a lot planned today. And 207 says our suffering will continue, not the government workers. Yes, that is a very good way to put it. The government workers are not suffering all that much. They're not suffering at all as far as I can see. Although, you would think the teachers, if they tell us, this remote learning is really a lot more work for them. So you think they would be like banging on the schoolhouse door wanting to come back in, get back to work. Oddly enough, there's no such thing. This would be a good question. I just changed my mind on the poll question, Jared. Do you believe most people are working remotely? Are working when they're working remotely? And I put that most people, Jared, because I think most people are not working remotely, and I think that's why you have this real problem with getting government quote unquote workers to go back to work. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. We're going to, we have a lot planned here today. I do want to start off though with the stories about the new detention centers for migrant children on the border. As you know, we've rung the dinner bell for illegal aliens to come in. We're very worried about COVID-19. You just heard Jen Psaki and Joe Biden talking about how terrible it's going to be. But, that doesn't stop us. And unemployment is through the roof. And it's very cold in Texas. But that doesn't stop us from inviting in all these indigent people from Central America who don't speak English. Many of them are illiterate. They have no job skills. Many of them are criminals, and they are disease-ridden. Many of them are going to test positive for COVID-19. We want them to come in, even though, exactly, the country is locked down still to a greater or lesser degree. It certainly is locked down in the blue states. There aren't enough jobs to go around, but we're inviting them in. So do you remember during the Trump years, when they would pick up these migrant children, it's strange. We're told that these are great family people and that they have the greatest family values that we could imagine. And, we're not nearly as good people as illegal aliens. But somehow when the people cross the border and they want to get to the barrios and get into the Section 8s and the EBT cards and the Mass Health, if you're in Massachusetts, et cetera, all the freebies, they just leave the kids at the border in a lot of cases. And so they always said that the Trump administration was putting kids in cages. Remember those stories? Putting kids in cages. Let's see, what was the phrase they used to? It was putting these are from the Washington Post in 2018. The American tradition of caging children. Here's another headline: the real reason we're locking children in cages. Here's one from 2 years ago in the Washington Post. Viewing U.S. border cells derided as cages. Central American officials, et cetera, et cetera. So now, remember, most of these cages, so-called, were built, all of them were built, actually, during the Obama years. But now that Biden is president, would you care to guess if the word cages is still an operative phrase, as Nixon's press secretary, Ron Ziegler, used to say? No, as Ron Ziegler would say, it's now an inoperative phrase. The kids in the cages are now migrant facilities for children. Migrant facilities for children. Oh, okay. So CBS is doing the same thing. Of course, CBS is doing the same thing. So here are the headlines. Last night, Washington Post. First migrant facility for children opens under Biden. CBS News. U.S. shelters. It's a shelter. Would you rather be in a shelter or a cage? Oddly, they look exactly the same. Do you know why? Because they are the same. There was nobody, you know why there was nobody in the shelters / cages for the last couple of years? It's because the Trump administration had pretty much ended the border crossings by cutting these deals with Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. And so none of the unaccompanied children, also known as future MS-13 gangbangers in many cases, were coming across the border and going into the shelters. I mean, cages. But so now it's so obvious, just so obvious. First migrant facility for children opens. Oh, God, 844-500-4242. But of course, not all the leftists. I must say that some of the leftists even realized that this was jive. And let's see here. Here's one from progressives everywhere, sarcastically tweeted. Definitely what we all voted for. And another activist named Hernandez said concentration camp expansion under a Democrat administration. So at least they realized that this is BS. Dana Loesch declared kids in cages is now migrant facility for children. So again, these people are not on the level, are they? They just they don't care. 844-500-4242. We're going to play that Merrick Garland cut again. Merrick Garland from yesterday when he's talking about the illegal aliens. It's just the most amazing. The most amazing cut I've seen in a long while. I was thinking about it all last night. He just won't. Well, before we go, let's play the entire cut. This kind of sums up. This is from the Daily Caller. This sums up everything that Merrick Garland, the judge, who's now going to be the Attorney General, he was nominated for the U.S. Supreme Court. He's kind of, think of him as a legacy from the Obama administration. But here's the supercut of him before the Senate yesterday and his cogent responses to the senators, basically legit, if softball questions. Cut 26.
Senator, I don't know anything really about the investigation. I don't know very much specifically about your two proposals. I don't know specifically about those, but Senator, I don't know the specifics of the act. I don't know the specifics of how the legislation would do that. I don't know what information the department has now. I don't know enough about the facts of the example you're talking about, but I honestly don't know what happened with the nursing homes. I don't know. With respect to the Durham investigation, I don't know anything about it other than what has appeared in the media. Similarly with Mr. Durham, I don't know anything about that investigation. I don't know very much at all about the policy. I have read, but don't know a lot about the solitary confinement issue. Again, I don't know the specifics, but I honestly just don't know. I don't know that much about 230 except for the case. I don't know the statute specifically, the provisions that do that, but I don't know the statute, no. The State Department have an obligation to apply that law. I don't know what the guidelines are that you're talking about.
I see nothing. I know nothing.
You anticipated my next question. Has anyone ever seen Merrick Garland and Sergeant Schultz in the same room?
I see nothing. I know nothing.
Remember, he was a brilliant legal scholar. That's what they told us in 2016. And he was a moderate, too. He showed me a lot of moderation yesterday. All right. We're going to take some calls when we come back. 844-500-4242. If you're tired of waking up in the middle of the night over and over again to use the bathroom, then you need Flowzite. Flowzite is an all-natural prostate health capsule that will decrease your bathroom trips. All those bathroom trips are not good for your health. We all need a certain number of uninterrupted hours of sleep each night. By taking Flowzite, you will get more sleep, and a better night's sleep is better for your health. Flowzite has helped me, and it can help you too. Order now at flowzite.com. That's FLOZYTE.com. FLOZYTE.com. When you put in code word Howie, you will save $10 and receive free shipping. Stop all the bathroom trips tonight. I'm Howie Carr.
Follow Howie on Twitter @Howie.
I'm back, Howie.
How was it?
It was good. They're trying to get everybody back to school, at least as far as elementary kids, by the end of April.
Yeah.
Every time he was challenged, are you rolling this out to deflect from the disastrous rollout of the vaccines? He would point to the stats. Look, we're number one in the vaccinations, in the top 10 overall, and blah, 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 blah. But it is really complaining about the lack of vaccines. We only have 130,000 each week, and there's 1 million people, and people are, it's tremendously anxiety provoking, he said. And he said people need to be patient.
Tremendously anxiety provoking.
Yeah, I sent you in the.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at the. Yep. Yeah. Tremendously anxiety.
Oh, that's such an obnoxious cut.
It is? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we should play that just as a tease for later on in the show.
Sure.
Well, I'll set it up, but we'll take some calls on this stuff with the cages and everything, and
you got
Merrick Garland, Merrick, whatever the hell his name is,
Merrick Garland.
And I could be very skeptical on their claims, but with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on, because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn, as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients.
And you saw that Brian Erickson was denied bail, right? Howie? Howie?
Tire at age 41 with a... Yeah.
You saw that Erickson was denied bail again, right?
Yeah, no, I did. I saw that. I'm very happy about that.
And that's up on the website.
Yeah, no, I'll mention that too when we come back.
Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, you're actually...
You got 30 days in the hole already?
Fireworks going.
Looks like he's going to make 30 days in the hole.
At least, yeah.
Control room, so that's not gunshots? Okay. Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Not Montana. I'm talking about no, never mind.
Yeah, no,
Ignore me.
I mean,
Ignore me.
that's Republicans could add to
I was getting Montana and North Dakota confused because I don't know. I just was.
He didn't come here to be made sport of.
Funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make you laugh. What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Howie Carr is here to stay.
The only way to spare more pain and more loss, the only way. These millstones no longer mark our national mourning. These milestones, I should say, no longer mark our national mourning.
Another grim milestone. Joe Biden screwing up another prepared statement. How many is this, the grim milestone? 10,000? So we can't have any more grim Is that what he's saying, Taylor? That we can't have any more grim milestones now that he's in office?
Grim millstones.
Grim millstones. Oh, my goodness. Grim millstones. Today's poll question is brought to you by Flowzite. Stop all the trips to the bathroom in the night. Order today at flowzite.com. Use code word Howie and save $10 and get free shipping. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Do you think most people are working remotely?
No, I don't.
67% say no.
I think some people are. I think some, people who have
you're working remotely.
I am. I've been working remotely for a long time. But, I have even though I'm not a Protestant, I have a Protestant work ethic, I think.
But yeah, most of the people say the people that are working remotely are remotely working.
Yeah. Barely working. 844-500-4242. Incidentally, Sergeant Brian Erickson, we keep an eye on him. He's the state trooper who was arrested in Exeter, New Hampshire on the last day of January. And what is today, the 23rd day of February? It looks like he's going to make 30 days in the hole.
30 days in the hole. 30 days in the hole.
It's the judge in Rockingham County denied him bail again today, and so he's going to remain in jail, I guess, in the Rockingham County House of Correction until his trial, or until they can somehow appeal this to a higher court. And I don't think the higher court's going to let him out either. So he's not getting a lot of detail work right now. 844-500-4242. I just, before we take some calls, I want to play a cut. This is going to be a tease for later on in the show when we do a lot of Charlie Parker cuts. But again, today, it's always someone else's fault with Charlie Parker, if you haven't noticed, the governor of Massachusetts. And so now it's the fault of whoever's giving the vaccines. They're not giving him enough vaccines. The rollout is going extremely smoothly, according to Charlie. It's just that there's not enough product out there. Cut 13.
The lack of supply that's attached to the issue associated with vaccines is a tremendously anxiety-provoking issue. When you get 450,000 requests for new first dose vaccines each week, and you have 130,000 first dose vaccines that are available, that creates anxiety.
Maybe it would help too if you could set up a website so that people didn't just have to keep applying for the vaccine when there was no more vaccine. It's kind of like
How dare you?
Like a ticket agency. If they have 10,000 seats to sell, they generally stop selling the tickets after 10,000 are gone. They don't just keep telling you, keep applying, keep trying to get those tickets. Keep trying to get those tickets. We ran out of them 8 hours ago, but we're not shutting down the website. Go for it. Go for it. 844-500-4242. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
Howie, who prepped him, Merrick Garland? The Wizard of Oz?
It was a pretty pathetic performance, wasn't it? Can you imagine that they made this guy out to be a world-class mind when he was nominated for the Supreme Court 5 years ago?
I'm an astrophysicist. If this guy is a genius, if he is the best with law, I am an astrophysicist, and I've never even opened a book.
I know. It's just amazing. We have to play the border crossings again too. I mean, we'll play this several times. We played it several times yesterday. Grace played it a few times today. But it's just, as John says, it really is mind-boggling that this guy was a federal judge. And he was a prosecutor before that, and he went to Harvard Law before that. And he says he's never thought about immigration law. You know, illegal immigration is a great source of crime, welfare dependency, just societal breakdown. And he's never thought about it by his own account right here. Cut 20.
Talk a little bit more about the law enforcement challenges at the border, which I know a number of other members have brought up with you. Just a fundamental question. Do you believe that illegal entry at America's border should remain a crime?
Well, I haven't thought about that question. I just haven't thought about that question. I think, the president has made clear that we are a country with the borders and with the concern about national security. I don't know of a proposal to decriminalize but still make it unlawful to enter. I just don't know the answer to that question. I haven't thought about it.
What the hell have you been thinking about? Do you live in a world where there's not only no illegal alien crime affects you, but you never read anything about it? You never hear anything about it? George, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, well, his response of "I've never really thought about" is code for "I'm not going to do anything about it."
Right.
So you got to read in between the lines. So that's the code. And then I would say, well, you don't really have to look much further, sir, than what's going on outside the Capitol with the fencing and the razor wire, and that's to keep out those horrible white supremacists. So I'm sure you would agree that a fence like that, similar on the border, would keep out those horrible illegals, wouldn't you?
That would have, you know what? That would have been a really good question, George, as a follow-up question by Josh Hawley or someone like that, But they don't want to be attacked. They don't want to be excoriated on Twitter, do they? Even guys like Hawley and Cruz. 844-500-4242. We'll be right back with Races News. I'm Howie Carr. Six Hour hiring CNC machine operators, maintenance techs, quality inspectors, and more. 6 Hour is offering competitive pay, multiple shifts, and for select positions, sign-on bonuses. If you'd like to join America's most highly respected firearms manufacturer, come to their drive-through job fair on February 27th, 9 a.m. to noon in Exeter, New Hampshire, for on-the-spot, socially distanced interviews right from your vehicle. Learn more at SigSauerCareers.com. That's SigSauerCareers.com.
Have you always wanted to have dinner with me? Well, today may be your lucky day. You can enter to win a free dinner with me just by going to the 110 Grill in Plymouth, Mass. and signing up. You will also get a free copy of Howie's book, Plug Uglies, when you enter to win. The night of the dinner will be Friday, February 26th, so hurry in soon. We will announce the winner Thursday, February 25th. I look forward to dining with you at the 110 Grill and sharing a few cocktails too. There's not a lot of time left, so enter to win today. Don't hesitate. That's the 110 Grill in Plymouth.
And now a namaste moment with Chris Cuomo.
Hope with me that today Dr. King's example inspires the many striving for better and enlightens the toxic few determined to be their worst.
You're gonna have a problem. What are you gonna do about it? I'll ruin your I'll throw you down these stairs like a punk.
We could not have a better reminder that you can't kill an idea with violence. And I don't want some jackass, loser, fat tire biker to be able to pull over and get in my face and in my space. And that violence can be used as a refuge for those coming from a place of animus and ignorance.
What's the best way to handle it? You just ignore it.
Naked choke?
No, just ignore
Punch to
them.
the sternum? As Dr. King taught us, darkness can only be removed by the light of truth. And love is the ultimate form of truth.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists.
Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry white guys. Angry white man.
Angry white old men.
These angry white men.
The angry white vote. All these angry white people. Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist.
Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's incel.
You tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist. The credulous boomer rube demo. Y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though my
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading. They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at in the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
Here's 1 minute of getting to know Jared Diglio. What would be your last meal on Earth?
Pizza. Cheese pizza. Just regular cheese pizza.
What drink are you going to have with your pizza?
I gotta go Coke. You gotta go Coke with pizza. It's the perfect combination.
Where's your favorite vacation spot?
I'm a staycation kind of guy. I like just staying in my place, but if I had to go to a destination, I love Italy, especially Rome.
If you could live in any state besides Massachusetts, which one would you choose?
Nevada. Wide open land. People leave you alone. Plus, it's not that far from Vegas or LA.
If you weren't in radio, what profession would you be in?
Gigolo.
Favorite comic book character?
Spider-Man. He's been my favorite since I was a kid. He's the most identifiable of the superheroes. He's just kind of a normal guy who's got a lot of problems, but he's got to overcome it and save the day.
Favorite Star Trek character?
I love TNG, but I got to go with James T. Kirk.
Dogs or cats?
Neither.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
Ice cream or cake?
Ice cream.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Boy, is Jen Psaki dumb. She can't speak coherently. She can't answer a question. When she's not circling back, she's using the wrong words. For instance, today at the press conference, cut 10.
And I think the challenge here, as you know, is that people are fleeing prosecution. They're fleeing very difficult economic circumstances and hardship.
Fleeing prosecution. That's what we're afraid of. And then when they get arrested up here, they're going to be fleeing back across the border to flee prosecution here. She meant to say persecution, obviously, but it's doubtful that she even knows the difference between prosecution and persecution. One more cut before we go to Grace's news. This is Claire McCaskill, another Rhodes Scholar, former Democrat senator who was ousted mercifully by Josh Hawley back in, I think, 2018. Here she is talking about the next Attorney General of the United States of America, cut 18.
But I watched part of that hearing. I mean, Nicole, give me a break. Can you believe Cruz and Cornyn sat there and lectured Garland Merrick?
Yeah, but did they lecture Merrick Garland, Claire?
At least she didn't say Judy Garland.
Somewhere over the rainbow, fleeing persecution or prosecution. All right, time now for Grace's news.
Hello, Howie. Thank you for having me on. Some scary news today. Tiger Woods is in a serious, he's in surgery right now after a serious California car accident in Los Angeles. They had to rescue him with the jaws of life. Really horrible accident. The car looks terrible. There's tons of helicopter footage. So hoping that everything ends up being okay there and that he comes out of that safely. A lot of people very worried. I'm a huge Tiger Woods fan.
I thought he lived in Florida now. I thought he lived in Jupiter.
Yeah, I don't know. He was in LA, and it happened around 7:12 a.m. this morning. So we're getting it, piece by piece as this news breaks. But I guess they're operating on his legs right now, so it's looking like he's going to be okay. That's what everyone's hoping, but doesn't look good for I mean for golf in general. But the most important thing, obviously, in these situations is that the person's okay.
I already needed to be extracted from what was left of the car by the jaws of life. So obviously, it was a pretty serious accident.
Yeah, no, definitely. And a lot of the news stations right now are covering this. So if we get any updates, we'll let you guys know. In other news, Howie, I did want to stay with Merrick Garland for a minute.
Get it right, Grace. It's Garland Merrick. Just ask Senator McCaskill.
It is one of those names. It's a little bit tricky. Like it does sound, they both sound like last names.
Right. Could go either way.
You played that montage, which I'm a little jealous I didn't have that during my show earlier, of him saying he doesn't know. But one of my favorite cuts was when Senator Kennedy asked him about transgender people playing in women's sports, and he was kind of perplexed at the difficulty of the question. I mean, keep in mind, this is the confirmation hearing for Attorney General of the United States. He's surprised he's getting tough questions. Take a listen.
In my last 20 seconds, I'm going to ask you if you agree with this statement. Allowing, and I'm not suggesting the answer one way or the other, I just want to know what you believe. Allowing biological males to compete in an all-female sport deprives women of the opportunity to participate fully and fairly in sports and is fundamentally unfair to female athletes.
This is a very difficult societal question that you're asking here. I know what underlies it.
I know, but you're going to be Attorney General.
You know what I find kind of amazing too, Howie, is that the people who are so afraid of ticking off certain factions of their party, they find every question to be difficult. Because if you're trying to make everybody happy, and if you're trying not to offend one section of your party that's going to eat,
they're not
you
trying
alive,
to make everybody happy, Grace. Do you think they're trying to make you and me happy?
No, I'm saying everybody in their own party happy. Like they can't tick off certain people, so they work around these answers. When really, if you were a normal person, you'd have an opinion on that. You'd have a yes or no.
Did you see the story about the camp in Michigan, the gay campground?
No.
It's a place called Camp Boomerang. Transgender activists are slamming a campground for gay men because it is excluding women who they say are transgender men. Owners of Camp Boomerang RV Park and Campground, a new private gay campground in Orleans, Michigan, not Massachusetts, made it clear that the campground is for men only, effectively banning transgender men, biological females who consider themselves male. We understand this statement, unfortunately, may not make everyone happy, said the co-founder, Brian Quinn, but we feel it needs to be clarified. They're calling it transphobic, and that the gay owners have a lack of empathy and understanding for trans men. We never said it's about checks on male equipment, says the owner of the place. But let's be real here. If we let men, transgender men in and they go naked to the pool, that's when it's obvious that there's no, you know what. Sorry to put it bluntly, he said in a Facebook post, but if you don't like the rules, quietly leave. What does Greta Thunberg think of these rules at Camp?
How dare you?
I thought
First it was the Boy Scouts, and I said nothing. Now it's the gay camp.
Now it's Camp Boomerang.
Well, Merrick Garland, or Garland Merrick, however you guys want to say it today, depending on what Claire McCaskill thinks, he's not the only one who's having trouble answering questions. As Howie pointed out, Jen Psaki is struggling a bit. And the one I wanted to play here is when I believe it was Caitlin Collins, Howie, and you've watched these as much as I have. CNN's Caitlin Collins hated Trump the most. I mean, she was right up there, like top 3 reporters who really, really despised him. And she's asking Jen Psaki now if Joe Biden is going to hold a solo press conference. And listen to the response. She basically gets laughed at. This is cut 4.
By this time in their presidencies, both President Trump and President Obama had held solo press conferences. So are there plans for President Biden to hold a solo press conference anytime soon?
He will hold a solo press conference, but I don't have a date for you at this point in time.
This week?
Not this week, no. Go ahead.
Get to pick the inquisitors himself?
What'd you say?
Will he get to pick the inquisitors himself?
Well, typically any president has a list of people that they're going to call upon, but usually it's a large number of people who are in the press room, and we certainly hope we'll be able to do that in a COVID-safe way.
Where's Glenn Kessler? I need a fact check on that. Is that typical protocol of a president? I don't remember Donald Trump's having to say, ABC Mary, you're next.
Jen, what will President Trump do first? Will he hold a solo press conference or will he hold a red Solo cup in his hand?
She really, she does not want to answer these questions. And how you played her before saying months and months of sacrifice. I mean, I just don't think that people are going to keep dealing with this for much longer. First of all, Biden's nowhere to be seen. He doesn't answer any questions. When the press is getting annoyed with you, you know it's bad. And it's just so obvious that they have no plan and that they're just making it up as they go. And Dr. Atlas was on TV today and he was just torching Fauci.
It was really good.
Let's play some of those, Howie.
Yeah, let's play cut 16 from this is Dr. Scott Atlas, who was President Trump's advisor, and he's from Stanford University. He's been on this show before. He's really smart, but of course they were down on him because he's not an epidemiologist, right? That's why they hated him. He doesn't have he doesn't have that PhD in social work or welfare like Dr. Farrar in LA or Dr. Sutters in Massachusetts. He's only a physician. What the hell does he know? Cut 16.
When you have people that keep repeating that kind of stuff, misinformation, totally ignoring the science on the masks, actually, completely ignoring, and therefore pushing false information, they're instilling fear. And that's what's worrisome here. Because when you look at the data on the surveys, over 70% of Americans say they will wear a mask after the pandemic is over. That's very frightening. We have a damaged American psyche, and it's due to these public health officials that are just really not saying the real data, probably because they don't want to admit that they were so wrong.
Boy, that is, I am so happy that he said that. They are
even better.
so wrong.
He grills him even more. But before we play more of that, Howie, Grace's News is brought to you by Toyota of Portsmouth, the house of value. I absolutely love my new RAV4 XLE, but what I love even more is the service that I got at Toyota. Leasing it was so easy. There was no pressure. And I wanted to mention that the service is great. They employ factory-trained technicians that can handle any maintenance or repair. If you're like me, that's a huge deal. You want everything easy. You don't have time to worry about it. So make sure you guys check them out. They are located just south of the Portsmouth traffic circle off 95. Go to toyotaportsmouth.com or visit them at the showroom and tell them Grace sent you. Let's play another one of this is Dr. Scott Atlas. You guys will remember how we had him on the show a lot. And like how he said, he was doing a really good job for Trump. He was doing too good of a job, which is why the press hated him. Let's play another cut. Dr. Atlas.
There's not only no accountability, there's a repetition of stuff as if it were never proven wrong. I mean, we're seeing it with the schools. We see it with all these super spreader, things that you just said. We're hearing just waffling on things because I think you're right. People have a lot of pressure, and that's understandable. They don't want to be wrong, except they're instilling fear.
Yeah, it's like they don't want to be wrong, I guess, but they also never admit when they're wrong, and they keep making predictions. Like, Howie, if I made 10 wrong predictions in yesterday's show during Grace's News, I wouldn't come on today and make 10 more.
Right. Well, people have been noticing, and Scott Atlas isn't the only one, he's just the latest one, that when you're in the elite, there is no accountability for being wrong about predictions or about your policies if you're Fauci or Baker or Cuomo. The only thing you have to do is be in the herd mentality. They don't care about herd immunity. They just care about herd mentality. If you are towing the party line, there will be no consequences for being wrong. And that's what Scott Atlas is saying. And that's what's driving him and everybody else crazy who pays attention and who's paying a price for these wrong-headed decisions that they've been making for a year now.
And Victor Davis Hanson had a piece in American Greatness, Howie, a couple weeks ago. And he was in that piece, he was talking about the Lincoln Project, but he said something similar to what you just said. He was like, as long as you are hating on Donald Trump or making Donald Trump look bad, all of your sins will be forgiven. Nobody cares if you're wrong or if you're lying or if you're corrupt.
Or you're a perv.
Yeah, as long as your mission is Orange Man bad, you're good. By the way, guys, make sure you head to the 110 Grill in Plymouth. Sign up to win a free dinner with Grace. I'm announcing it Thursday. And most importantly, just by signing up, you get a free Plug Uglies.
All right. Thank you, Grace. Thank you for Grace's
Howard.
News. All right. This is the week you've been waiting for. My friends at Eden Pure have brought back the ever so popular Thunderstorm Air Purifier BOGO offer. You may have gotten an email about this today, and the email says you never have to breathe dirty air again. And that's what this is all about. This offer expires Sunday, February 28th at midnight. With over 60,000 sold, the Thunderstorm is slated to sell out. So take advantage of this offer while supplies last. If you bought one and love it the way I do, then order now and you'll have two. You'll actually have three, I guess. Debbie from Auburn, Maine wrote, "Wet dog, sausage, and cigars were no match for the Thunderstorm. My listeners loved the Thunderstorm Air Purifier. Matt the vet, who's going to be on Friday night, as a matter of fact, loved it so much that he bought two more for his office."
Howie, as I've said, if you've got one, you're going to want another one. Different parts of your house are used for different things. They produce different smells. Your kitchen has a smell. Your basement has a smell. You may not realize it all the time, but if you actually think about it, they do have their own distinct sense. This will make them all smell the same. Unnoticeable. You'll smell fresh air, and that's all you'll notice.
It's a small device, as you can see, that you can hold in your hand and plug into the wall to purify the air from any odor, pet odors, kitchen smells, tobacco, or that damp smell lingering in your basement. When you take advantage of the BOGO offer, the Thunderstorm is below $100 and doesn't take up any room. Open that email that you just got a few minutes ago if you want to see more about the Thunderstorm. It's a great product, though. We all agree. Also, no filters are needed. Take advantage of the BOGO offer before it expires or simply runs out. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word HowieBOGO. That's EdenPure.com BOGO, HowieBOGO. Shipping is free. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.
6 Hour is hiring CNC machine operators, maintenance techs, quality inspectors, and more. Come to their drive-through job fair on February 27th, 9 a.m. to noon in Exeter, New Hampshire for on-the-spot interviews right from your vehicle. Learn more at 6hourcareers.com.
What impact do you think Russian interference had in the election?
I think it was one of the major contributors to the outcome.
Years from the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton still can't accept the results. Take a listen.
You know, you can run the best campaign. You can be the person who gets the nomination. You could lose. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
This wasn't on the level.
Flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them.
It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again. So of course he's obsessed with me.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. Congresswoman Harris, Congressman, Senator, did I say Senator Harris? He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy doo on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
Yeah, we. Cape Gun
Every
works.
time you turn around, expect to see me. There's one time you'll turn around and I'll be there.
The Howie Carr Show.
Talk a little bit more about the law enforcement challenges at the border, which I know a number of other members have brought up with you. Just a fundamental question. Do you believe that illegal entry at America's border should remain a crime?
Well, I haven't thought about that question. I just haven't thought about that question.
Just haven't thought about that question. It's like asking him, do you believe there'll ever be a manned mission to Jupiter? I've never thought about that question. It's how could you not think about that question? There's been nothing but turmoil for the last decades, however many there have been with all these illegal border crossings. It's been nothing but turmoil, chaos, crime, welfare dependency, just total disaster. And he hasn't thought about it. Must be nice to go to Harvard Law School and then just to get a job in the federal bureaucracy and make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. He's probably got a trust fund too. 844-500-4242. Apparently Tiger Woods, his foundation was sponsoring a golf tournament out there. I guess a lot of people were watching it on TV over the weekend. And that's what he was doing out there. They wrapped up over the weekend. He had spent the last couple of days just doing his own private business affairs, because obviously he's worth a ton of money. And so that's why he was in LA rather than in Florida. I think he still lives in South Florida. He and his ex-wife lived in Jupiter. They had a giant mansion. I think she got that, but I think he still stayed down here. He plays golf every once in a while with President Trump and other VIPs. Arthur, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Arthur.
Hi, Howie. How are you this afternoon?
Good.
Yeah, we're not seeing Charlie Baker because he's rehearsing for his famous hissy fit about why we can't have our drunken Irish parade on St. Paddy's Day.
That's already canceled, though, isn't it, Arthur?
We'll get the big lecture. If you remember.
No, I know. You know, that's the thing, Arthur. Even though the parade is canceled, he's and the time at Halitosis Hall, or it used to be at Halitosis Hall. Now it's at the convention center. That's canceled too. But he's still afraid that people are going to go out and have a good time. He is truly fulfilling H.L. Mencken's definition of a Puritan, someone who has the lingering fear that someone somewhere is having a good time. That's Charlie Parker. He wants to do away with anybody having a. He loves being the gloom and doom man. Did he bang on his fist on the podium today, Taylor?
Not today.
I wonder why.
Maybe he did it so hard the last time. He's nursing his hands now.
844-500-4242. Let's play one more cut from Charlie Parker before we go to the break. And again, we'll have all these cuts at the 6 o'clock hour. Let's play cut 14.
And what we have tried to say to people about some of this is to be patient. Everybody's going to get vaccinated, but everybody can't get vaccinated at once because we don't have enough supply. And this isn't just a Massachusetts issue. This is true in every state in the country.
Doesn't seem to be a problem down here in Florida. I don't think it's a problem in West Virginia either, is it? It's funny, the states with Republican governors or competent governors in general don't seem to have this problem with shortages that are plaguing places like Massachusetts, where the governor is a legend in his own mind. We'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr.
Several years ago, we here at Matthews Brothers launched the website called MatthewsBrothers.com. We did this for a couple of reasons. First, it's our name, and it seemed to make sense that we name it after ourselves. Secondly, we thought it would be a useful place to post interesting things about our wicked awesome windows and doors. Shortly after we launched it, this fella, who insists on calling himself the webmaster, told us that he could put anything we wanted to on our website. Since we were getting kind of tired of seeing his vacation photos there, we took him up on his offer. Today, there's so much fun stuff to do on our website. It's like going to a theme park, but without the lines or the mask. Do you want to know the closest dealer to you? Even if you're out in the middle of nowhere, or worse yet, New Jersey? We've got a dealer locator for that. Want to page through a colorful catalog without having to lick your fingers? We've got a flip book for that. Accidentally take the bottom sash out of the frame and there's a blizzard coming and you can't get it back in and the factory's closed? We've even got a video for that. You can learn more about our wicked awesome windows and doors, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price. We shall pay any price. Bear any burden. Bear any burden. Accept any challenge and meet any hardship. Meet any hardship. To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children. To assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
For the joy of their play.
Come on, man. 200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, grandparents who are no longer with us.
I think it's up to 30,000 people have died.
Over 600,000 dead, 600 plus thousand people.
60,000.
660. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us more than 85,000 jobs, lives of millions of people.
Now we have over 120 million dead from COVID.
200 million people have died. 205 million people, 1,000 people. 210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion. 500,000. 50,000. A class of 25, you end up having two classes of 12, for example. But you know, in the 2020 census, which is now 2 censuses ago, the Oval back in May 2019, a $15 million, $15,000, $15 minimum wage. I got to the Senate 180 years ago.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
The Democrat Party is so full of loonies, social justice warriors, progressives, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes certain moonbats get overlooked. So let's take this moment to shine the woke spotlight on Crazy Mazie Hirono.
I am not going to be a fool to Mitch McConnell's shenanigans. Why should any of us? And it's not just a dog whistle, it's a bullhorn. Bullhorns. It's racism. It's basically, for many people, it's anti-Semitic. It's white supremacy.
Why not take a stand and vote yes for it? Seems like you're trying to have it both ways, not be hung by it politically, but also not say that you don't support it.
I disagree with you, Katie, that why should we engage in the kind of sham shenanigans that Mitch McConnell is really good at? I'm confused. This was just a sham.
Guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country. And I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up.
I think the noose is closing, and, Giuliani is like a loose cannon, and so is the president, frankly.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists. Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry, white guys.
Angry white man.
Angry, white, old men.
These angry white men, the angry white vote.
All these angry white people, too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's insult.
You tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist. The credulous boomer rube demo.
Y'all elitists are dumb. You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though my
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading.
They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at and the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
Everyone knows I love coffee and I'm not giving it up. I know that it would keep me up from time to time, but no longer with Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. When it does this, you'll feel better, and I sleep better. Often I'm asked to try products and I can be very skeptical on their claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on, because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn, as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, you should give Balance 7 a try. Order the 8-ounce 12-pack supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie. You will save $10 and you'll also get free shipping. Balance7.com. And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again,
you have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Today we mark a truly grim, heartbreaking milestone. 500,071 dead. That's more Americans who've died in 1 year in this pandemic than in World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War combined.
It's still going to be months and months of sacrifice, of work, of suffering, unfortunately, in order to get through the pandemic.
If you're trying to scare me, it won't work.
Over 90% of American stories were negative and therefore fear-invoking.
Fear will keep the local systems in line.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Under the guise of a real medical pandemic, we're really moving into a coup situation, a police state situation.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. The toll-free number from anywhere is 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. And the hearings for Joe Biden's appointees continue. And as you know, his pick for the Office of Management and Budget, I think her name is, I can never get her name right, Nina Tiernan or Nira Tiernan. It's an Indian name. And so, of course, she's, her supporters, not that there are all that many of them, are saying, well, you can't deny her because she's the first woman of South Asian Indian descent who will ever be at a cabinet level position for the U.S. She has tweeted out horrible things about Republicans and Democrats alike, which is kind of okay. But one time, she's such an acolyte of Hillary Clinton, believe it or not, that she once attacked a reporter. I mean, physically attacked a reporter because she was so angry that she'd asked Hillary Clinton a real question. And I'm just wondering, what if you were a heterosexual male who was not of South Asian descent and you attacked a reporter, either male or female? Do you think that would be a disqualification for you? Probably would be. But she's still hanging in there, although it looks like she's not going to make it. Even Susan Collins has said that she is not going to vote for this woman when she comes up for confirmation. If she comes up at all, they probably, if they don't have the votes, they'll pull the nomination. They don't like to suffer a defeat. You know how it works in any legislative body. So anyway, we're gonna take a lot of calls this hour, but one thing I wanted to get to today is Peter Doocy, the son of Steve Doocy, the Fox News reporter that Dementia Joe calls a one-horse pony, and he was asking some pretty good questions today, and we were talking earlier about how Biden is reopening the cages, so-called. They called them cages for kids when Trump was president down on the border, but now they are child detention facilities now that Biden is president. And that's exactly what CBS and Washington Post called them. They don't call them cages anymore now that Trump is gone. So Peter Doocy asked Jen Psaki the obvious question today. Cut 11.
Kamala Harris said, basically, babies in cages is a human rights abuse being committed by the United States government. So how is this any different?
We very much feel that way. These are facilities. Let me be clear here. One, there's a pandemic going on. I'm sure you're not suggesting that we have children right next to each other in ways that are not COVID safe, are you?
I'm suggesting that Kamala Harris said that this facility, putting people in this facility, was a human rights abuse committed by the United States government. And Joe Biden said, under Trump, there have been horrifying scenes of at the border of kids being kept in cages. Now it's not under Trump; it's under Biden.
This is not kids being kept in cages. This is kids. This is a facility that was opened that's going to follow the same standards as other HHS facilities. It is not a replication. Certainly not. That is never our intention of replicating the immigration policies of the past administration. But we are in a circumstance where we are not going to expel unaccompanied minors at the border. That would be inhumane. That is not what we are going to do here as an administration.
So it sounds to me like she's saying that you have to put them in cages because of the danger of COVID. So is she saying that the Trump policy, which was just a continuation of the Obama-Biden policy, was humane to put them in cages to prevent them from being exposed? I mean, that's what she said, isn't it? Okay, so we had another question for her after Merrick Garland, or as Claire McCaskill calls him, Garland Merrick, really botched the question yesterday about whether he believed illegal border crossings are still illegal. Of course they are, because they haven't repealed the law. So as long as the law's on the books, it's illegal to cross the border, especially if you're coming over to commit crimes, as so many of them are, of one form or another, or to become wards of the state, to be supported in their for the rest of their lives. So this is Peter Doocy today to Jen Psaki, cut 12.
Merrick Garland was asked yesterday if illegal entry at the border should remain a crime, and he said, I haven't thought about that question. Does President Biden believe that illegal entry at the border should remain a crime moving forward?
Well, I think he was being asked as the Attorney General, the future Attorney General. I think he's looking to head to be confirmed of the United States. And if he wants to make considerations independently, he can certainly do that. But the president's spoken to this, and we believe in abiding by our laws. As you know, there, of course, is a process underway at the Department of Homeland Security to take a fresh look at prioritization and who is detained and who is sent back home. So that is something happening from the Department of Homeland Security. But again, if he's going to lead an independent Justice Department, and it's his prerogative to take a look at any policies under their purview.
Just keep temp that's in Jen. So the new Attorney General, despite the law, whatever the law is, he will make considerations individually. And despite what the law is, there will be a fresh look at prioritizations. That means they're not going to enforce the laws. Both of those statements mean they're not going to enforce the immigration laws because it's part of the fundamental transformation of America. It's part of the plan to destabilize even larger parts of the country with these people coming in and becoming dependent on government largesse. And therefore, when they become citizens or when they don't become citizens but are still allowed to vote, they'll be voting Democrat because they'll want to keep the handouts going. So then the other question that's pretty interesting is that John Kerry has been talking about how there's only 9 years left. It's gone from 12 years to 10 years to 9 years. Although back in, I think, 2002, when An Inconvenient Truth came out, I think that Al Gore said that there were 10 years left. So
how much time do we still have left to avert climate catastrophe?
Well, the scientists told us 3 years ago we had 12 years to avert the worst consequences of climate crisis. We are now 3 years gone, so we have 9 years left.
9 years left. Okay, so this is a legit question from Ducey to Jen Psaki. Cut 13.
Just quickly on climate. Last week, the climate envoy, John Kerry, said that there are only 9 years left to save the world from the effects of climate change. Does President Biden share that assessment? 9 years.
I don't have a new timeline to give you from here. I can confirm for you, though, that the president agrees with former Secretary Kerry that it's a crisis, that time is of the essence. We need to act quickly, and that's why climate is a key part of his agenda.
Nothing she says makes any sense. It's not a real answer. It's just mush. Pap. BS would be the Anglo-Saxon way to describe it. 844-500-4242. I've been on balance 7 for 2 weeks now, and I can't believe my energy. I've been feeling so good that some days on the weekend I go for 3 bike rides. Now you ask, what is balance 7? Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid you take 3 times a day to break down the acids in your body. You feel better, and I personally sleep better. It also reduces acid reflux and heartburn. Often I'm asked to try products and can be very skeptical of the claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I don't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wears on. By allowing me to sleep better at night, I have more mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body over time. All you do is drink a small shot of the liquid 3 times a day, and you will feel the difference. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, give Balance 7 a try. Balance 7 is made in America and has sold more than 6 million units worldwide. Order any of the 1-month supply and put in code word Howie. You'll save $10 and you'll get free shipping. That's Balance 7, the number 7, balance7.com. Code word Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in...
Hey, Howie.
Yes.
Charlie Spearing of Breitbart.
Yes.
He tweeted, today, Joe Biden recalled campaigning at a whistle stop event in Columbus, quote, literally 35 days ago. The event was actually September 30th, 2020, and the train stopped in Cleveland and Alliance, not Columbus. I haven't been able to find any audio. I haven't seen Joe speaking publicly today.
Oh, okay. Will you send that to McKay so he can print it out for me?
Sure.
Guy, what profession would you be in?
My number one dream job is to be an antique dealer. You know, like the American Pickers. I would love that job. Going through people's old garbage and junk and trying to find that diamond in the rough. And you're always learning as you go. It's a lot of fun to watch. And I think that's why I go antiquing on the weekends.
What is your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite TV show?
The Honeymooners. Jackie Gleason is the most hilarious person on television ever.
What is your favorite soda?
I'm not a big soda guy. It's got to be a special occasion for me to drink soda, but I'm partial to Dr. Pepper.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
Brace yourself, guys. Here's 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. that they wanted their voices to be heard.
I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163. Was it 163 Republicans voted no. Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
I can still teach you a few, kid. You're just a tin-horn thug and you always will be. You haven't got the guts to be anything else.
The Howie Carr Show.
That will be vaccinated, because there will be things that you will not be able to do because the burden of virus in society will be very high, which it is right now. Even though we're going way down on the decline that Dr. Walensky showed you, we are still at an unacceptably high baseline level, with the 7-day average being quite high. So there are things, even if you're vaccinated, that you're not going to be able to do in society. For example, indoor dining, theaters, places where people congregate.
You know, I've been doing indoor dining for quite some time now, and I'm not dead. And, you know, if it's such a problem not to be wearing a mask, why was he photographed at the opening of the baseball season last summer not wearing a mask after he threw out the first pitch in a very girlish fashion, shall we say, a girly fashion? What a jerk he is. He is just, talk about an expiration date. I would like to see him go away, retire. He's an octogenarian, as they say. That means he's over 80. Today's poll question is brought to you by Flowzite. Stop all the trips to the bathroom in the night. Order today at flowzite.com. Use code word Howie and save $10 and get free shipping. Taylor, what's the poll question? What is the results? What are the results thus far?
Do you think most people are working remotely?
No, I don't.
71% say no.
And I think this explains why the teachers don't want to go back to quote unquote work. I think this explains why the public servants at the town halls, the city halls, the registries of motor vehicles and deeds, and the people at all of this, the agencies don't want to go back to work because they prefer to work remotely because there is no work, or there's next to no work. 844-500-4242. Here's this is from Charlie Spearing from Breitbart, and we don't have sound of this yet. But today, Joe Biden recalled campaigning at a whistle stop event in Columbus, quote, literally 35 days ago. Whenever Joe Biden says literally, it means not really. Event was actually September 30th, 2020, and the train stopped in Cleveland and Alliance, Ohio.
And here comes the train that he tried to make sure didn't continue to run. No, that's the commuter. All right. No, that's what. But folks, look.
I remember that now. It was like Hunter, his son, Hunter, riding that train high on cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. Trouble ahead, trouble behind. And you know that notion just crossed my mind. So speaking of Dr. Fauci and his predictions of gloom and doom, let's have Dr. Scott Atlas talk about this a little bit more. And he's talking about the barrage of negative coverage, which is it's not just the people like Charlie Parker and Andrew Cuomo that have been reveling in this negativity. It's all of the media. And I think a lot of it has to do with, it's so easy to go to a Charlie Parker press conference, say if you're in Boston, and you just take these ridiculous numbers that he throws out. We're number one in testing. And, the number of hospitalizations is going down. And you don't have to go and report anything. It's all these numbers are nonsense. They're lies, damn lies, and statistics. But they have the imprimatur of the state. So you can report them and you don't have to do any work. And you get a big headline and everybody goes, or they did for a year. It's starting to wear off now. Even the low info voters, even the people who read the Boston Globe, who watch local TV news, are starting to come to the conclusion that, maybe some people died from this, mainly in nursing homes, but some people did die. But it wasn't as bad as they made it out to be. They didn't have to have the turkey patrol before Thanksgiving. They didn't have to cancel all of the high school sports. They didn't have to shut the hockey rinks. But this is Dr. Scott Atlas talking about how the media has portrayed this panic. Cut 15.
When you look at the American media in particular, and part of it is these interviews where people keep stressing what we don't know, what might happen. And we know so much, like you pointed out, about the variants. There's no evidence that there's some kind of massive spike due to these variants. There's no evidence that there's increased lethality. But we have American stories. If you look at the data from the National Bureau of Economic Research, over 90% of American stories were negative and therefore fear-invoking, whereas in Europe, just over 50%.
Yeah. And that's why you have this panic or near panic among older people in Massachusetts that they can't get the vaccine. They've been scared out of their, if they believe Charlie Parker, if they read the Boston Globe, if they watch local TV news, they've been scared out of their wits. There was no need for any of this. And yet to defeat Donald Trump, they push this narrative, and now it's coming back to bite them, though. That's the irony of the whole thing. The governors who pushed the panic the hardest, Newsom, Cuomo, Charlie Parker, Larry Hogan in Maryland, they're the ones who are now being devoured by their own creations. Of this panic, and they can't deliver. 844-500-4242, and of course they're still talking about this. They're still pushing the narrative. Here's Jen Psaki on Monday. Cut 3.
We need to remain vigilant, both from the federal government, the American people need to, and it's still going to be months and months of sacrifice, of work, of suffering, unfortunately, in order to get through the pandemic.
Sacrifice, work, and suffering. Now, by work, when it comes to the public sector, by work, she means no work. That's the... So the teachers, as part of their sacrifice, they're not going to work. And as part of their sacrifice, the courts aren't going to be in session, basically, except on rare occasions when they try to keep a Massachusetts state trooper in jail for another few weeks, which I'm all in favor of, by the way. 844-500-4242. We'll take some calls when we come back. I'm Howie Carr.
Have you always wanted to have dinner with me? Well, today may be your lucky day. You can enter to win a free dinner with me just by going to the 110 Grill in Plymouth, Mass. and signing up. You will also get a free copy of Howie's book, Plug Uglies, when you enter to win. The night of the dinner will be Friday, February 26th, so hurry in soon. We will announce the winner Thursday, February 25th. I look forward to dining with you at the 110 Grill and sharing a few cocktails too. There's not a lot of time left, so enter to win today. Don't hesitate. That's the 110 Grill in Plymouth.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
I know he always asks me tough questions, and he always has an edge to him, but I like him anyway.
Now that you're president and you're saying there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months, what happened to 2 months ago when you were talking declaratively about I'm going to shut down the virus? When President Trump was imposing travel restrictions in March, specifically on China, then candidate Biden called it xenophobic and fear-mongering. So now President Biden is putting travel restrictions on people coming in from other countries. What word do we use to describe that?
Well, I don't think that's quite a fair articulation.
Why weren't President Biden and all members of the Biden family masked at all times on federal lands last night if he signed an executive order that mandates masks on federal lands at all times?
That he was celebrating an evening, a historic day.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love, and to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony! Hey, this guy's a great big phony!
Cleared by CDC. Ooh, sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my.
200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, grandparents who no longer with us.
I think it's up to 30,000 people have died.
Over 600,000 dead, 600 plus thousand people.
60,000.
660. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us more than 85,000 jobs, lives of millions of people. Now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. 200 million people have died. 205 million people, 1,000 people. 210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion, 500,000. 50,000. A class of 25, you end up having two classes of 12, for example. But you know, in the 2020 census, which is now 2 censuses ago, the Oval back in May 9, 2019, a $15 million, $15,000, $15 minimum wage. I got to the Senate 180 years ago.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Whenever any of this crew talks about suffering and sacrifice, they're talking about you and me, not them. Rest assured. You know, a follow-up question for Ducey would have been, if the world's really going to end in 9 years, then why are we worried
about trying to reduce our carbon emissions to zero by 2050, because there's not going to be a world, right? So who cares? Might as well have a good time. And if it's this significant and the world's going to be flooded, why is Joe Biden's former boss, Barack Obama, why did he buy that house on Martha's Vineyard on the shore? Ditto, the climate czar, the climate envoy, as Ducey called him, John Kerry. Why does he have a place on the shore on Martha's Vineyard? You'd think it was going to be washed away. 844-500-4242. By the way, we've talked a little bit, before we take some calls, we've talked a lot about this poor Capitol Police officer, Brian Sicknick. This is the guy who they originally said, the New York Times and CNN and other fake news outlets said he was beaten to death by Trump supporters on January 6th with a fire extinguisher. And it wasn't true. And all these fake news outlets have been walking it back for the last couple of weeks. And as far back as January 8th, ProPublica reported that Sicknick texted his brother after the riot to tell him he was in good shape. He died the next day. And last week, the New York Times, they didn't retract their earlier stories about the murder of Brian Sicknick by Trump supporters. They didn't correct it. They didn't clarify it. They updated it to say it wasn't true. But I noticed a couple of days ago, the Daily Mail was still reporting that Sicknick had been murdered. And that made me pretty disturbed, disgusted with the Daily Mail, because I read that fairly often. But today, the Daily Mail kind of made up for it. They had an interview with the mother of the late Capitol Police officer, Brian Sicknick. And she said to the Daily Mail, the English newspaper, the big website, largest, I think, English language website, news website in the world. Her son was not beaten with a fire extinguisher by a mob on January 6th, saying he likely suffered a stroke instead, refuting reports from the New York Times, CNN, and other left-wing outlets claiming otherwise. This is what Gladys Sicknick said in an interview yesterday with the Daily Mail. He wasn't hit on the head, no. We think he had a stroke, but we don't know anything for sure. We'd love to know what happened. This is what the New York Times update, the quote unquote, the retraction masquerading as an update said, new information has emerged, meaning true information has emerged as opposed to the false stories that they made up earlier. New information has emerged regarding the death of Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick that questions the initial cause of death provided by officials close to the Capitol Police. So these weren't even the Capitol Police. These weren't even law enforcement. This was probably some Democrat hack congressman, like the likes. I'm not saying it was Adam Schiff, but you know how much Adam Schiff has lied. Or Eric Swalwell, who had an affair with a Chinese spy. These are the kind of people who are providing them with this information, unless, of course, they just made it up. Sicknick's brother also disputed the reports about his death in early February. He texted me last night and said, I got pepper sprayed twice and he was in good shape. His brother, Ken Sicknick, said to news outlets last month, appearing to dispute key details in the original New York Times fake news report. Medical examiners have not released an official report on Sicknick's cause of death. An autopsy report was also not released. Meanwhile, there have been no arrests related to the slain officer's death. Officials have not released details about a potential suspect because there is no potential suspect. And while the breach was captured via live streaming video, there is no footage that surfaced of demonstrators hitting Sicknick with a fire extinguisher. An official Capitol Police statement said falsely that Officer Brian D. Sicknick passed away due to injuries sustained on duties. He was injured while physically engaging with protesters. He returned to his division office and collapsed, which he apparently didn't because he texted his brother that night that he was in good shape. Investigative journalist Glenn Grunwald noted last week that Sicknick's death was referenced so much because it was the only example that the media had of the pro-Trump mob deliberately killing anyone, adding that none of the other 4 deaths during the riots were at the hands of protesters. The only other person killed with deliberate violence was a pro-Trump protester, Ashley Babbitt, unarmed when shot in the neck by a Capitol police officer at close range, et cetera, et cetera. 844-500-4242. Greg, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Greg.
Howie, long time no talk. How you been?
Good.
Okay, on to the discussion. Ashley Babbitt.
Yes.
You recall during the video clip that we all eventually got to see in one form or another during the shooting, I'm not going to call it a justifiable shooting, but I'll leave the qualification to someone else. When the individual that they backed off the identification of shot her in the neck, do you recall who was standing behind her and off to the sides?
A fellow named Sullivan. Am I correct?
Yep, that guy. And who else, though? There were 2 uniformed police officers in significant tactical gear with long arms off to the side.
Now, remember, hold on, Greg. Let me just tell people if they don't remember who Sullivan is. Sullivan is a guy who was under indictment or was arrested in Utah last year for his participation in a BLM Antifa riot in which one person was shot in a car, a passerby. And he was paid $70,000 for his video of this. And he's basically an agent provocateur. And that night he was brought on CNN to be a disinterested observer as a journalist reporting on this, even though he was taking part in the riots. And he was seen dancing with a female CNN reporter after the riot had sort of dissipated or abated, saying that we did it, with some obscenities and profanities thrown in there. So he was paid $70,000 by, I believe, NBC News and CNN for the videotape. $70,000 for taking this video of this poor unarmed Air Force veteran being gunned down by a Capitol police officer whose identity we still do not know. Thanks for the call, Greg. Bill, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bill.
Hi, Howie. Listen, all the time I'm listening to you, and I don't remember if you remember back to the 80s, but at that time, Fauci came out and said that he had discovered the cure for HIV. And it turned out that the information that he delivered, claiming it was his, belonged to French scientists.
I don't remember any of this. I just remember he got a lot of grief from the AIDS activists at the time. That's how far back he goes. And he was not a spring chicken back in the 80s either. He had been on the government mammary for about 10 years when that whole problem started. And he's been slurping at the public trough since the Lyndon Johnson administration. 844-500-4242. 978 says, what are the odds Ducey is on the list when Dementia Joe has his first solo press conference, if such solo press conference ever actually takes place? I don't think that's ever going to happen, though, is it? No, there's no way he's ever going to take questions by himself anymore. And whoever heard of this list? I mean, Trump would talk to anybody. Sometimes Trump would, even when he'd been president for a couple of years, he would just be taking these nasty questions, which weren't really questions. They were just harangues, rants from these mean girl reporters. Just looked like they were out of high school, never covered anything in their lives till they got the White House quote unquote assignment. And he would go, "Who are you? Who are you?" I mean, do you think Joe Biden is ever going to take a question from somebody that he doesn't have a good idea that they're going to ask him a softball question? Obviously not. 844-500-4242. Donald, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Donald.
I had to laugh when you talked about Obama having his beachfront home in Maine. The Finance Authority of Maine is going to put up several $1 million in bonds to try and bring back a ski resort in Greenville at Moosehead Lake.
Yeah.
Now, if you have global warming, why would you be investing millions in a ski resort?
I saw something on the internet a couple of days ago, Donald. Someone posted, it was a story from the New York Times in 2014, and the headline was, "The End of Snow?" ? The end of snow. I remember Bobby Kennedy Jr. He wrote a column like maybe 10 years ago. He was saying, when I was a kid in McLean, Virginia, we had a hill on our backyard. You know, he was Bobby Kennedy's kid, and we used to slide down the hill when it snowed on sleds. And he said, and I'm just so sorry that my kids will never know what it's like to slide down a hill on snow. I mean, it's so ridiculous, Donald. I mean, but you know, they never expect anybody is going to ever call them out for this nonsense that they've been promoting for 30 or 40 years now. Thanks for the call, Donald. 844-500-4242. The Biden administration's policy and executive's orders are already causing some economic disturbance. Tax laws are going to change. Your tax burden on selling real estate will grow. Don't get caught flat-footed and squander the equity in your real estate built up over the years or decades. Sell today with J.J. Manning. For over 40 years, J.J. Manning has been the leading auction house in New England. From high-end homes to estates to commercial properties throughout New England, J.J. Manning can get your property sold fast and contingency-free. There is a big reason why Mass Lawyers Weekly voted J.J. Manning #1 for 4 consecutive years. Because they have a huge following of bidders who pay cash. When you sell with a broker, you pay the commission. But in an auction, the buyer pays. These are treacherous times in the real estate market. Some sectors are at all-time highs, like vacation property and suburban property in the really good towns. Others are losing ground. Think commercial real estate, think retail property. Don't wait until Joe Biden destroys this sector of the economy too before you cash out. To learn more on how to get your property sold fast, contact Charlie Gill at jjmanning.com. With over 16,000 sales and satisfied clients, you can be the next one. Call them today at 1-800-521-0111 or go to jjmanning.com and get your property sold. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think 1 left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton.
There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book.
I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke.
A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al-Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just 1 scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaps anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president of the United States, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Christmas.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
Got hate mail?
You bloated idiot! You stupid fat you!
Send it to Grace at HowieCarShow.com.
So, Jeff Bezos, Dr. Evil, the owner of Amazon and the Washington Post, is the world's richest man. And sometimes Elon Musk is right close behind him, the owner of Tesla. And Elon Musk, as you probably know, just moved Tesla to Texas from California for obvious reasons, multiple obvious reasons. And so Jeff Bezos decided to order his minions to do a hit piece on Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is kind of a free thinker. He's a bit of a nut. But, if it was somebody you wanted to have a drink with or play a round of golf with or do anything with, you would always pick Elon Musk because he's semi-normal as opposed to Bezos. So they wrote this piece and it said something like, "Can Tesla run on autopilot?" It was just a hit piece, the traditional standard Washington Post hit piece. And they asked Elon Musk if he wanted to add a comment, because that's what you have to do in journalism, because democracy dies in darkness, as the Washington Post likes to say. And so Elon Musk just texted back to the reporters that were doing the hit piece on him on behalf of Jeff Bezos these words: "Say hello to your puppet master for me." Beautiful. Beautiful. That's why you prefer Elon Musk over Jeff Bezos. Rich, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rich.
Hey, Howie. All this talk about the January 6th insurrection, as they like to call it.
Yeah.
They said five people died as a result of that. I know the police officer died, a day later or whatever, like you mentioned. But who killed the other four people? I've never heard.
Well, I think they, three of them had heart attacks or strokes, because that's what, people, get excited and they something happens to them. One of them, a woman was, trampled to death by the mob. And that's the nearest thing to violence, except for, of course, Ashley Babbitt. She was shot. A woman was trampled, and then someone died of a heart attack and someone died of a stroke. And then the fifth one was this guy, Brian Sicknick. So, and again, it's very unfortunate that anyone died, but people die all the time at any kind of large gathering of people. I said at the time, you go to an NFL football playoff game when it's normal times and the stadium is packed with 60, 70, 80,000 people, someone usually dies, either has a heart attack or gets drunk and falls off one of the upper stands. Something happens. And that's just the way it is. And to make this sound like, as you said, an insurrection, it's just absurd. And you can, whenever you read the words insurrection in a story, you don't need to read much further than that, because it's just going to be an attempt to make the Trump supporters look bad. And, Glenn Grunwald is doing a really good job since he left The Intercept. I guess they were really hamstringing him, even though it was his own website. He had founded it, but now he's at this Substack, and he's just doing a really good job. And he did a good piece on going over all this nonsense that's been printed about these riots. Thanks for the call, Rich. Bruce, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bruce.
Hi, Howie. Glad to talk to you. I saw a video where there was a man pushed off the top of the stairs there. That's like 3 stories up.
Yeah.
And I assumed he went to his death, and that's what they said in the video, but I'm not sure. I called to talk about the fourth branch of government. If the FBI and Department of Justice is not going to do anything and indict anybody or anything, the fourth branch of government is the common law grand jury, which anybody can convene to.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. You know that, Bruce.
Yeah. I mean, you need someone to do it like Jay Sekulow or somebody that's high up there that knows, the ins and outs.
Yeah. He's not going to, I like Jay Sekulow, and he did a great job defending President Trump in the first impeachment trial, but he's not going to do that either. I mean, just have to keep trying to win these elections and get control of these departments. I mean, it's a terrible thing that, President Trump was in there for 4 years, and we could never get a handle on the corrupt Federal Bureau of Investigation and the even more corrupt Department of Justice. Not all of them were corrupt, but certainly at the highest levels of the FBI. I mean, the fact, again, I've said it a million times now, but the fact that Kevin Kleinsmith, the crooked lawyer who tried to frame Carter Page to try to frame Donald Trump, he's not going to do any jail time. I don't think he's going to lose his law license. He obstructed justice. He submitted a forged document to a secret court where there was no opportunity for Carter Page to confront his accuser or even know he was being accused. It was just an outrageous violation of Carter Page's civil rights. Say they put George Papadopoulos in jail for a couple of weeks for nothing. They framed him too. They used federal tax dollars to frame these people, or to try to frame them as a way to get to Donald Trump, and they got away with it. I'm Howie Carr. This week is the week you've been waiting for. My friends at Eden Pure have brought back the ever so popular Thunderstorm Air Purifier BOGO offer. This offer expires Sunday, February 28th at midnight. With over 60,000 sold, the Thunderstorm is slated to sell out. So take advantage of this offer while supplies last. If you bought one and love it the way I do, then order now and you'll have 2. Debbie from Auburn, Maine wrote, "Wet dogs, sausage, and cigars were no match for the Thunderstorm." My listeners love the Thunderstorm Air Purifier. Matt the vet loved it so much he bought 2 more. The Thunderstorm is a small device you can hold in your hand and plug into the wall to purify the air from any odor. This could be pet odor, kitchen smells, tobacco, or that damp smell you may have lingering in your basement. When you take advantage of the BOGO offer, the Thunderstorm is below $100. It doesn't take up any room. Also, no filters are needed. Take advantage of the BOGO offer before it expires or supply runs out. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word HowieBOGO. That's EdenPure.com, HowieBOGO. Shipping is free.
Hello, all the participants in tonight's event. We can overcome the deadly virus. Reward work. We will reclaim our credibility. The pandemic, we need all our strength to persevere. Rural versus urban. America built of decency. I took it to instill public confidence in the vaccine. President-elect Harris took hers today for the same reason. Everybody is entitled to be treated with decency. All my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here. James Joyce was said to have told a friend, "I understand they worry about their jobs. I understand, like my dad, they lay at bed staring at the ceiling." Yes. God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony. Come on, give me a break, man.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price.
We shall pay any price,
Bear any burden.
bear any burden,
accept any challenge, and meet any hardship.
Meet any hardship.
To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children.
To assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
For the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Everyone knows I love coffee and I'm not giving it up. I know that it would keep me up from time to time, but no longer with Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. When it does this, you'll feel better, and I sleep better. Often I'm asked to try products and I can be very skeptical on their claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on, because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn, as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, you should give Balance 7 a try. Order the 8-ounce 12-pack supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie. You will save $10 and you'll also get free shipping. Balance7.com.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about
He might not be flashy, but he's there when it counts. Here's 1 minute of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
For the first time in my memory, I agree with Nancy Pelosi. I am indeed the Grim Reaper when it comes to the socialist agenda that they've been ginning up over in the House.
You watch the fight, you watch the tactics, but here's what I want to tell you. In the very near future, Judge Kavanaugh will be on the United States Supreme Court.
Noted with great interest the Green New Deal, and we're going to be voting on that in the Senate. We'll give everybody an opportunity to go on record and see how they feel about the Green New Deal. Well, first on the impartiality issue, do you think Chuck Schumer is impartial? Do you think Elizabeth Warren is impartial?
No.
Bernie Sanders is impartial? So let's quit the charade. This is a political exercise. Nobody is supposed to be guilty until proven innocent in the United States of America. Look, we're at an impasse. We can't do anything until the speaker sends the papers over. So everybody enjoy the holidays.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
We are now effective today requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms. A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care
for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a flight to go see family out of state.
Some people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of the neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology. What they do.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton.
There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book.
I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Today we mark a truly grim, heartbreaking milestone. 500,071 dead. That's more Americans who died in 1 year in this pandemic than in World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War combined.
It's still going to be months and months of sacrifice, of work, of suffering, unfortunately, in order to get through the pandemic.
If you're trying to scare me, it won't work.
Over 90% of American stories were negative and therefore fear-invoking.
Fear will keep the local systems in line.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Under the guise of a real medical pandemic, we're really moving into a coup situation, a police state situation.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
The North Dakota House of Representatives has passed a bill that will make any future mask mandates illegal in the state. 50-44. The bill sponsors a Republican rep named Jeff Hoverson. He said, "Our state is not a prison camp." Charlie Parker begs to disagree about the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Ditto many other blue state governors. They think their states are prison camps, and that's the way they're going to keep them. Damn it. Hoverson called mask mandates diabolical silliness. That's a good way to describe them, isn't it? Referring to them as a conspiracy run by, quote, unelected wealthy bureaucrats who are robbing our freedoms and perpetuating lies. I like this guy, Hoverson. He's my kind of state rep. I wonder how far he could get in Massachusetts. Not too far would be my guess. He would be denounced by the powers that be as a denier. He's denying BS is what he's denying. Time now for the chump line.
A grim milestone was reached yesterday as the 20 millionth business closed forever due to COVID paranoia.
That was said never by nobody in the mainstream media. There are no grim milestones when it comes to young students committing suicide because they're depressed, or people sliding into alcoholism or drug addiction, or foreclosures because people couldn't pay their mortgages, because they couldn't get a job because of these insane lockdowns, et cetera, et cetera.
They really need to change the law. Someone that's been arrested as much as Joe Biden should not be out walking the streets.
Yeah, whatever happened to 3 strikes and you're out? By his own admission, he has at least 3 or 4 strikes, right? The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week enjoying the premiere of Season 10 of Wicked Tuna, featuring America's favorite captain, Dave Marciano, and his pals Jay, Joe, and Angelica. Wouldn't it be great to be out there fishing with them for free, courtesy of Matthews Brothers? Stay tuned.
Here's to Attorney General Merrick Garland. May he enjoy the success of Jeff Sessions. Hey-o!
Or John Mitchell, for that matter. John Mitchell went to the can. He was Richard Nixon's attorney general and his former law partner in New York. It's always good to have someone close to you as the AG.
Como is the fool's gold standard.
Oh, he is. He is. It's just so pleasurable to see the New York Post going after him day after day after day, and he just has no comeback other than to call people liars and to say they're nasty. You know, it's a case, once again, of projection by Democrats.
Howie, I think Governor Baker's rollout of the vaccine is smooth. I also think the roads are smooth.
We just had a couple of Massachusetts people visiting us, some old friends from the Springfield area, and the guy just retired after 40 years with UPS, and he said it's so nice down here. He said, and the roads are so smooth. You know, when you're down here for a while, you just think about things like the fact that it's 40 degrees warmer than it is in New England at all times, and you can eat outdoors, you can eat indoors, and people are enjoying themselves. But you forget about things like potholes. Another benefit of living in free America. Your tax dollars are not wasted and squandered all the time.
Howie, Merrick Garland calling, or as you call me, Garland Merrick. As Attorney General, I will ignore the usual trappings, such as the FBI or voter fraud, and focus on the important things, such as imprisoning self-proclaimed emperors of hate, and also those engaged in low-digit license plate racketeering enterprises.
I believe the statute of limitations has expired on low-digit license plate racketeering enterprises, which never occurred in the first place. That was so bleeping legit, it was ridiculous, that license plate lottery that I oversaw and proceeded to win a 4-digit license plate, which used to be owned by someone who went to the same high school I did.
I don't want to brag, but I have the same medical degree that Bill Gates does.
That makes 3 of us. Yeah. Bill Gates, he's quite an expert. You know, it's like they say, if you're if you don't have any money and you're out of your mind, you're crazy. If you're out of your mind and you have $1 billion, you're eccentric.
The president's son, Hunter, after volunteering to go to Texas to help the freezing residents there, was disappointed to learn that they have an abundance of cracked pipes, not crack pipes.
He wanted to go to some place that was suffering from an accumulation of snow. He's very much into snow.
Finally, we're going to have a president and an attorney general who have something in common. They both don't know anything.
Yeah. The only difference is that I think Merrick Garland, or Garland Merrick, says and even more than Joe Biden.
Howie, I figured out how they're going to re-educate Trump supporters to being good Democrats. They're going to make them listen to the Bruce Springsteen, Barack Obama podcast.
Is suicide an option? I was thinking about that the other day. Bruce Springsteen and Barack Obama, they're going to talk about coming up on the mean streets with their private jets and their oceanfront mansions and their 9-figure net worths. It's been tough being Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen.
Merrick Garland shouldn't say he doesn't know. He should just say he'll circle back.
That's copyrighted, isn't it, by Jen Psaki? She's the only one who can use that.
FDR had fireside chats. Biden's going to have bedside chats.
Bedside chats or couch side chats as he's watching the Matlock reruns.
How about tapioca talks?
Tapioca talks. That's a good one. What is he? Do we know what his favorite 50s, 60s, 70s TV show reruns to binge on are? Do we know that yet? Does he even know what Netflix is? Or is he he's a TV Land kind of guy? But TV Land has kind of moved into the 80s now, hasn't it? I think.
Well, they've got a lot of original programming too.
Really?
It's very 21st century. Yes.
Oh yeah. So forget that. He's not watching
He's
TV
more
Land.
of a Me TV guy.
Me TV, right? Exactly.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
They could probably set up YouTube for him too, couldn't they? So that, on one of those big screens, so he could watch the old black and white reruns that are available on YouTube, like every episode of Highway Patrol. I must say, I like that myself.
I see Joe Biden as a Gunsmoke guy.
The 30-minute episodes or the hour-long episodes?
Oh, you can't stay awake long enough for the hour-long episode.
Yeah, that's true. You got a point there. Plus, he liked Chester a lot more than he liked Festus, I dare say. Okay, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message anytime between the hours of 1 and 4 Eastern Time each weekday. The Chump Line number, if you wish to leave such a message, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. The Chump Line is, and if you don't hear your message, you can always listen to Chopped Chumps. Those are the messages that didn't make the broadcast version you just heard. They're posted around 7 o'clock every weekday evening. And get Chopped Chumps wherever you get your Howie Carr Show podcasts. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, enjoying the premiere of Season 10 of Wicked Tuna, featuring America's favorite captain, Dave Marciano, and his pals Jay, Joe, and Angelica. Wouldn't it be great to be out there fishing with them for free, courtesy of Matthews Brothers? Stay tuned.
I don't want to brag, but I have the same medical degree that Bill Gates does.
Or Mary Lou Sutters in Massachusetts, or Barbara Farrar out in L.A. Yes, we all, there are a lot of doctors out there. Hit refresh on your dinner routine with HelloFresh. Right now, you can take advantage of a new limited time offer and see why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh gives you simple recipes and fresh ingredients sourced directly from growers and delivered to your door, contact-free. With more than 25 weekly recipes, there's something for everyone to enjoy, including family-friendly, vegetarian, and low-calorie options. Say goodbye to never-ending meal planning and prepping, and hello to new 10 to 20-minute meals, low-prep recipes, quick breakfasts, and lunch. Hello recipe cards are easy to follow with simple steps and pictures, so you can get great-tasting, delicious meals on the table in less than a half an hour. Plus, by skipping the grocery store, you can save up to 40% on groceries, cut food waste by 25%, and stop overbuying. As I always say, if you order through HelloFresh, you don't have to go to the supermarket. You don't have to deal with all the Karens. You don't have to deal with the masks. You don't have to deal with the inclement weather, the slush when it's warm like this, all the mud and the dirt. And the people that were here from Massachusetts say that in a lot of Massachusetts supermarkets, you still have those one-way only aisles. Who needs it? Just get your food from HelloFresh. It tastes better too. It gives you a choice of different meals you haven't tried before. Go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals, including free shipping for a limited time only. Go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals. HelloFresh.com. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie will be right back after a quick trip to the Redemption Center.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I can't tell you how many times in the past couple of months, somebody I know has told me a story.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panicked porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
Somebody I know has told me a story about how they got it, and it all goes back every single time to some informal gathering where nobody wore masks, nobody kept their distance, and the virus spread.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world. But it's the only world they know.
I mean, it's pretty common at this point that that's where a big piece of this is coming from.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman. Did you have tanning lotion on, Joy? A little. I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Hold up!
So we can all be quiet and peaceable and have a few beers together and listen to the music and not make any wrong moves.
Howie Carr is back.
603 says, I thought Biden was more of a Dumont guy. That was one of the early networks. I don't think it made it too long into the 50s. Lately, Biden's been watching My Mother the Car on 8mm film. Oh boy, that was a bad series. Amazon has a lot of 50s and 60s shows streaming for viewers in their prime. Yeah, but I'm giving up Amazon. I can't deal with Amazon and Dr. Evil anymore. I gotta get something else, even if it's Dumont reruns on. I know YouTube is Google, I believe. So their hands aren't clean either when it comes to this social media censorship. But it's better than Amazon. Today's poll question is brought to you by Flowzite. Stop all the trips to the bathroom in the night. Order today at flowzite.com, Flowzyte. Flowzite.com. Use code word Howie and save $10 and get free shipping. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Do you think most people are working remotely?
No, I don't think they're working remotely at all.
Only 28% think they are.
All right. 844-500-4242. There was an interesting column by Peter Funt. I guess he's the son of Alan Funt. He writes for the Wall Street Journal occasionally. And it says he's still the host of Candid Camera. I don't know where that's running, but he had a good one this week, which I think about sometimes, which is, with all the choices we have, like we were just mentioning Amazon Prime and Netflix and whatever else. And he says that in 1961, Newton Minow became the chairman of the FCC, Federal Communications Commission. He's the one who said TV was a vast wasteland. The three most watched television programs were Westerns: Wagon Train, Bonanza, and Gunsmoke. Each week, those shows were seen by roughly 1 in 3 Americans. 1 in 3 Americans. Wasteland or not, it was part of a sweeping shared experience. When I looked at Nielsen's top 10 list of the most viewed series of 2020, I was surprised to discover that I'd only watched 3, and 2 of them were NFL football. Well, for me, it would be those two, the 2 that were NFL football. He said the third one was This Is Us, the NBC drama, which I had never heard of until just now. Neither of us has watched his editor, neither of us has watched the 2 most popular scheduled non-sports series, the CBS crime dramas NCIS with a 5.0 rating and FBI with a 4.2. In 1961, by contrast, the rating for Gunsmoke was 37.3. 37.3 as opposed to a 5 or a 4.2. In fact, and this is in a world where there are, probably 2.5 times more Americans, and Americans watch more TV, but they just don't watch network TV. So Netflix reaches only a small majority of U.S. homes, so even its top series falls way short of the old Wagon Train penetration numbers. And with streaming, the community experiences, same show, same night, chatted up at the water cooler the next day, is gone. With fewer shared experiences, even trivial ones, we find ourselves in smaller social and political groups. And so this Newton Minow is still alive, apparently, at the age of 95. And Peter Funt asked him for a statement, and he said that it's it's different now, and that he didn't say if it's still a wasteland or not, but he said fractionalization of the audience provides more choice, but we pay a big price. Our country is now much more divided because we do not share the same news or believe the same facts. I'd say that's just as well, considering what network news has become, which is not the facts. It's promoting a false Democrat narrative. I used to think providing more choice was in the public interest, but I am not so sure today. Television, end of quote. Television used to bring us together. Nowadays, we read lists of the most popular programs, which most of us have never seen. I'm okay with that. You remember when Mitt Romney was running for president in 2012, and I think he made a statement that we were better off in the days when we all watched one of 3 newscasts and we all read one of several newspapers, meaning the New York Times or the Washington Post, and then your local newspaper, which was just a wire service compilation of what was in the Washington Post or the New York Times. I actually think we're better off with more choices. But he's to get salaries before I could get state salaries on the internet just at the touch of a fingertip. I'd have to actually go up to Beacon Hill and go into the comptroller's office, plan it 2 or 3 days in advance. And you would see all the people in the office during a coffee break. They would literally be at the coffee, at the water cooler, talking about the same shows. And they were always the lamest shows. They were always like Fantasy Island or Dallas or Barney Miller or Cheers. I mean, they weren't bad shows, but they were just chewing gum for the eyes, as Fred Allen used to say. Ugh. I haven't been watching much primetime TV for a very long time. I'm Howie Carr.
Did you want to do Baker cuts here or wait till 6:30?
What?
Did you want to do Baker cuts here or wait till 6:30?
You know what? We can do them now. We should do them now.
All right.
At 22,245 with 0.9% financing for up to 48 months. Or lease for only $229 per month for 36 months with $24.29 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
Have you always wanted to have dinner with me? Well, today may be your lucky day. You can enter to win a free dinner with me just by going to the 110 Grill in Plymouth, Mass. and signing up. You will also get a free copy of Howie's book, Plug Uglies, when you enter to win. The night of the dinner will be Friday, February 26th, so hurry in soon. We will announce the winner Thursday, February 25th. I look forward to dining with you at the 110 Grill and sharing a few cocktails too. There's not a lot of time left, so enter to win today. Don't hesitate. That's the 110 Grill in Plymouth.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
There's a group of about 10 people outside of work that represent the entire universe of the community that I've spent time with and my wife has spent time with since March.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
We spent time with about 10 people, period. We have a lot of friends we have not seen for months, and we don't know when we will see them. There are lots of people we haven't seen in like forever.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world, but it's the only world they know.
Those are the rules.
Yes.
Can you play cut 13 for me? Because I think I'm going to use that in my column, and I just want to get the exact beginning of it. Will you play it now?
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. All right, here it comes.
The lack of supply that's attached to the issue associated with vaccines is a tremendously anxiety-provoking issue. When you get 450,000 requests for new first-dose vaccines each week, and you have 130,000 first-dose vaccines that are available, that creates anxiety. And when you have 1 million people who are eligible to get a vaccine, and you only get 130,000 first doses a week, that creates anxiety.
Play that again, okay?
The lack of supply that's attached to the issue associated with vaccines is a tremendously anxiety-provoking issue. When you get 450,000 requests for new first-dose vaccines each week, and you have 130,000 first-dose vaccines that are available, that creates anxiety. And when you have 1 million people who are eligible to get a vaccine, and you only get 130,000 first doses a week, that creates anxiety.
What a dope. Okay, thank you.
210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion, 500,000, 50,000. A class of 25, you end up having 2 classes of 12, for example. But you know, in the 2020 census, which is now 2 censuses ago, the Oval back in May 2019, a $15 million, $15,000, $15 minimum wage. I got to the Senate 180 years ago.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious B.I.G. t-shirts with a lot of pride.
Best rapper alive, Tupac.
You say he lives on.
Not alive.
I know. I keep doing that. A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. The Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety. And let's be clear, there is no vaccine for racism.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us. I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Someone says NCIS is the new Matlock, jumped the shark a decade ago. That's probably why it's still popular, because even a decade ago, you had probably twice as many people were watching network primetime programming as are watching it now. I mean, The Simpsons are still pretty popular, right? And they've been around for how long? 30 years? Because they don't have to worry about anybody aging or anything like that. They just, hire some new South Korean cartoonists to do the show. They probably most of the people who started out on that show are retired now. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. It's speaking of entertainment. Charlie Parker had another press conference today as this vaccination fiasco continues unabated in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
You're enjoying your day, everything's going your way. Then along comes Charlie Parker. Always there to tell you about a new disease, a car accident or killer bees. We beg her to spare you, Charlie, please. But you can't stop Charlie Parker.
He knows almost as little as Merrick Garland about what's going on, though. It's not, or he knows something about it, but it's not his fault. Nothing is Charlie Parker's fault. He like Cuomo, like Newsom, like Hogan. These people started out as Teflon governors a year ago, and increasingly the Teflon is turning into Velcro as they have to face the consequences of life without Orange Man bad. And so Charlie Parker, well, Taylor, you listened to the whole thing today. What was the overarching theme of today's press availability?
We're doing great with vaccines. That's the theme. Those are the marching points for Charlie Parker.
In other words, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes and your fingers that are becoming calloused from being on the keyboard so long trying to make appointments on the internet, right?
Yeah. Anytime somebody criticizes or says or asks if you're deflecting with opening schools again, he says, no. Look at the data. Look at the statistics. But is he really, if he listened to the show last night, he might have had a different opinion. All those people calling in about the nightmare stories of trying to sign up for the vaccines.
Yesterday, they opened a new clinic at the Natick Mall, which is right in Metro West. And it's like 2 towns over from where the Senate president lives, Karen Spilka. She lives in Ashland. And so I guess she's been really angry about the rollout because there was nothing in her area. So they decided to open one in Natick, and there's a story about it in the Herald today. And what happened is people were trying to get through, and they couldn't get through, obviously, on the website because the website is totally deficient. It doesn't get the job done. So these old people just started going to the mall and asking or demanding to be given the shots without appointments. I mean, that's how desperate they are. But Charlie Parker says everything is okay. So why don't we play this cut 13 again, which is probably the most incoherent cut, and it's also the most exasperating cut. Cut 13.
The lack of supply that's attached to the issue associated with vaccines is a tremendously anxiety-provoking issue. When you get 450,000 requests for new first dose vaccines each week, and you have 130,000 first dose vaccines that are available. That creates anxiety. And when you have 1 million people who are eligible to get a vaccine and you only get 130,000 first doses a week, that creates anxiety.
He only had a year to set up a website, so that if he only had 130,000 doses, they would tell the person who came in at number 130,001 that they'd have to wait until next week. But he didn't do that. He just lets people keep going on to the site, filling out page after page after page with all the information, including insurance. And then they just get cut off at the end. But he doesn't care about that. Okay, so let's play these cuts. Should we play them in order? This is when he's bragging about what a great job he's doing. Pay no attention to those headlines. Pay no attention to all the stories on all local newspapers and TV stations. He's doing a great job. Cut one.
We continue to be the number one state in the country among our peer states, the 24 states that have more than 5 million people, for first doses per capita, and we've been in the top 10 nationally now for the past 2 weeks. We also have, according to Bloomberg's data, which is off the CDC, the second best vaccination rate in the country for Black residents.
How about if you're not Black? How about if you're Asian or Native American or Hispanic or white? And I like that, among our peer states. How about just states in general? All states have 2 senators, not just your peer states. That's another way of deflecting the blame. So, and again, he was asked about this today. He announced that that the schools are going back to full operation, despite what the teachers unions want to happen, which is no return ever to full operation, so that the pajama party can continue. But he was asked about whether this was deflection, but he just kept going with this, that remote learning is coming to an end. Cut 2.
Our administration's been clear for months that the best place for kids is in the classroom. And today, Commissioner Riley started a process working with the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education to get more kids back into the classroom full-time by phasing out remote-only learning in April.
The best place for kids is in the classroom. The best place for their parents is in the unemployment office because we've closed all the businesses.
So these statements right now, they're still part of his, scripted statements. We haven't gotten to questions yet.
Okay, but and if the kids' parents are state workers or city workers, the best place for them is in Florida, continuing their year-long vacation from work. So let's go down to the questions, Taylor.
All right. So cut 8, Baker is asked if he is deflecting. This is the money cut. This kind of sums up the whole press conference. If he's deflecting from the horrible vaccine rollout by trying to open up the schools.
Do you think that this is an attempt to deflect from the rocky rollout of the vaccine?
We're number one in the country in first doses per capita among our peer states that have more than 5 million people. That's 24 states that are basically our size or bigger.
Is there an echo in here?
We've been a top 10 player for the past 2 or 3 weeks. I would hate to distract from that information because that's a really good story.
So, great, Taylor, he just repeated what he said earlier in his prepared statement.
It's like Jen Psaki trying to, get the press to cover that one aspect. That's Charlie Parker's version of saying, "Well, we hired a woman."
Yeah, and we're number 2 in black vaccinations. What do you say? We're number 1 among our peer states. Number 1 in first doses among our peer states.
Right, with 5 million residents or more. Okay. So then he's asked about the frustration people are having with signing up and finding appointments, and he just goes back to the same talking points.
But at this point in time, we're a top 10 daily doser here in Massachusetts. We're a top 10 performer in first doses per capita, and we're number one among the states that are our size or bigger nationally. And I think the big challenge that we face in terms of dosing more people at this point is 100% a function of how much vaccine we get each week from the feds.
So it's 100% on the feds. 100%. There's nowhere to get a shot on, for instance, Cape Cod. Until yesterday, there was nowhere to get a shot basically in Metro West. But is that on the feds? That they haven't got huge swaths of the state where you can get a vaccine?
So he's asked about that as well. He's asked, if he's ever going to move away from the mass vaccination sites, because a lot of cities and towns, if people have been following the news, are complaining that they thought they were going to get some vaccinations so they could, dole them out themselves instead of relying on these mass vaccination sites. And he has a very cavalier response.
I think the strategy that the Commonwealth's pursuing at this point, which is a number of large sites which have been overwhelmingly positive experiences. In fact, I would say most of the best incoming we get in terms of sort of constituent issues is how much people like the fact that all those sites do is vaccinate people, and people are in and out in 30 minutes, and people think the experience is terrific.
Have you heard anyone say, what a great idea it was to set up a vaccination site at Fenway Park where there's no parking and it's winter? Same with Gillette Stadium. Have you heard anyone talking about the overwhelmingly positive experiences of going to Fenway Park in the winter with no parking? I must have missed it myself. Keep going.
So he's putting a lot of stake in the J&J, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine being approved, because he says that's kind of gonna fix all of this. Because it doesn't require any refrigeration and they're going to be able to produce quite a bit of it. So he made a little bit of a joke.
One of the big benefits of the J&J vaccine, if it gets approved, I feel like I'm waiting for Godot, is that vaccine doesn't require the same degree of deep freeze that we have with Pfizer and Moderna.
There's a problem with that analogy, Taylor. You know what it is?
Godot never shows up.
Exactly.
I would pose to Charlie Baker that he's never seen Waiting for Godot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's true. I'm pretty sure it is, because if he had seen it or read it, he would not have used that as his comparison to the J&J vaccine. Oh, God. Okay, we'll play some more of these, and we'll take some of your calls when we come back, 844-500-4242. And by the way, after the 6 o'clock hour, we're going to talk to somebody who was fired from the Baker administration for expressing doubts about the need to wear a mask at all times. Fired from a $95,000 a year job. It's really bad. Great news. The Gen 40 heater is back and just in time for the really cold temperatures. Oil prices are going up. The Keystone XL pipeline has been stopped. 35 million gallons of oil a day are gone. They're going to Red China instead of the U.S. Now there's a moratorium on fracking on federal lands. That means natural gas is going through the roof. Everything, energy is going higher and higher, skyrocketing up. This was the plan all along. It's a little warmer these last couple of days, but it's been cold, very cold in New England and everywhere else the last few weeks. It's a lot of snow. You need to start planning, and that means you need the Gen 40 heater. Robert from the Cape says the Gen 40 performs like no other heater I've ever used. It is remarkable. Right, Taylor?
I've used it. My father, when I was growing up, had an earlier version of the Gen 40 heater. And so with the new generation, myself, I'm using a new generation of Eden Pure heater, and it's fabulous. It compounds on all of the greatest things of all the previous Eden Pure heaters, puts it all into one stylish, sleek, compact heater that works very effectively.
Very lightweight, too. The Eden Pure Gen 40 makes you feel warmer than your furnace, and it also costs less to run. You may be working from home more now, and you will need to pay close attention to your heating bills. The Eden Pure Gen 40 will pay for itself in a matter of weeks. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word HowieDeal to get $50 off the sale price. That's EdenPure.com and use code word HowieDeal for an extra $50 off. These heaters are in high demand, so go right now to EdenPure.com. I'm Howie Carr.
They call him the trash man, but we'll call him Captain Howie Carr.
6 Hour hiring CNC machine operators, maintenance techs, quality inspectors, and more. Come to their drive-through job fair on February 27th, 9 a.m. to noon in Exeter, New Hampshire for on-the-spot interviews right from your vehicle. Learn more at 6hourcareers.com.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists. Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry white guys. Angry white man.
Angry white old men.
These angry white men.
The angry white vote. All these angry white people. Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's incel.
They tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist.
The credulous boomer rube demo. Y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though my
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading.
They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at in the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
Everyone knows I love coffee, and I'm not giving it up. I know that it would keep me up from time to time, but no longer with Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. When it does this, you'll feel better, and I sleep better. Often I'm asked to try products, and I can be very skeptical on their claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on, because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn, as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, you should give Balance 7 a try. Order the 8-ounce 12-pack supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie. You will save $10, and you'll also get free shipping. Balance7.com.
Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was.
There's a lot at stake here. This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected. Respect the virus.
I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again.
We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that.
I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player, and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that
Howie, I'm going to come back with Baker talking about updating the website.
Okay.
Tests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious. I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that.
I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
Or maybe you know what a zombie is. You see them sometimes, walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring.
You mean like Democrats?
Howie Carr is back.
People are working on developing a whole series of user interface improvements, and those will be rolled out over the course of the next couple of weeks. And I would say that this is something that's a big focus, along with making sure that the system has the capacity to deal with the potential of several million people being on it at exactly the same time.
Thank God we're going to have some user interface improvements on the system. And it's a funny thing.
Are we going from an octopus to a squid?
Ronald Reagan used to say that when politicians feel the heat, they see the light. And so Charlie Parker is feeling the heat. So he's seeing the light of opening the schools. Same with Gavin Newsom, who's going to have a recall election in California. Guess what he decided to do today? Taylor.
Is he opening up schools?
Immediately, the schools must be open in California because he's seen the light.
So I guess Rand Paul was right all those months ago. But nobody wanted to listen to him.
Yeah,
a silly ophthalmologist.
Yeah, it's kind of like Tom Cotton, the senator from Arkansas, saying a year ago that the virus came from the Wuhan, China labs, or at least the meat markets, and they said he was dealing in debunked conspiracy theories. That's what the Washington Post said. Now the Washington Post is reporting that the virus came from Wuhan labs or meat markets. So where does Tom Cotton go to get his apology? 844-500-4242. Kay, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Kay.
Hi, Howie. I just wanted to talk. I've been trying to get onto the website or get a schedule, an appointment, and it's just impossible. And it's also a very awkward process.
Right.
But I'd like to put the Johnson & Johnson. It's my understanding that vaccine is not as effective as either the Pfizer or the Moderna. So he's waiting for the Johnson & Johnson less effective vaccine.
I don't know, Kay. You know, there are conflicting reports about how effective they are. Some people have been saying that you only actually need one of the vaccines, and that the second one is unneeded and should probably go to people who haven't gotten their first vaccine. So I don't know, but again, by his own admission, he's waiting for Godot, which means if that's what he's waiting for, it's not Godot never got there. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is never going to get there either, apparently. But Kay, just hang in there, because as you just heard your governor say, user interface improvements are in the pipeline. 844-500-4242. We got time for the Cut 11. The mass vax sites are the best way to go. The great response. The overwhelmingly positive experience.
Played that already.
Oh, that's the one. Okay, we played that already. I thought, because he just keeps. I look at the what's on the cut sheet there, Taylor, and it's the same. Sometimes he says the same thing over and over again. So I'm kind of confused. You know, which cut is which. Not your fault. It's Charlie Parker's fault. We're doing very well though among our peer states. Our peer states are all the other bust-out states of the Northeast. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Like most companies, we here at Matthews Brothers are pretty proud of our website. Not so proud that we go around asking total strangers to visit it or anything like that, but proud enough to ask you to. Now, you might think that's the dumbest thing I've heard all day. Why the heck would I want to visit MatthewsBrothers.com? Where's the fun in that? And we'd be like, you don't have to make it personal, dude. There's lots of fun stuff to do there. And you'd be like what? And we'd be like the visualizer. And you'd be like, what the heck's a visualizer? And then we'd tell you. The visualizer is this nifty little application that allows you to completely remodel the exterior of your house. Play with different colors and styles to design the virtual home of your dreams. You'll have hours of fun this winter creating such visual masterpieces as a spruce green window with barn red sash and gray 4.5-inch banded casing and historic sill nosing. Then, once the thrill of that is worn off, you can play with the roofing and siding. You can learn more about our wicked awesome Maine-made windows and doors, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first connect in 1,000 generations to be able to get to the university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glennis the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get the university.
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment? Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. Chocolate candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker. I mean,
Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs.
civilization as we know it is at stake.
I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody anytime.
This is going to sound immodest, but I'm obviously a top-tier candidate. I've had a lot of titles over my career, and certainly vice president will be great. But Mamala will always be the one that means the most. They said, well, do you think Trump is responsible for what happened? And I said, well, look, I mean, obviously he didn't pull the trigger, but he's certainly been tweeting out the ammunition. And that's why do gotta go. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories.
You know, I'm just going to engage in real talk. I don't want to waste your time with anything else.
What is your favorite musical genre? Oh, I mean, I'm hip hop and reggae and jazz. Those are some of my favorites. Okay.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay.
And I inhale. I did inhale.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price.
We shall pay any price,
Bear any burden.
bear any burden,
Accept any challenge and meet any hardship.
meet any hardship,
To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children.
to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children,
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children,
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
for the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now, when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie. I appreciate it.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of the
No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can also see you're in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Today we mark a truly grim, heartbreaking milestone. 500,071 dead. That's more Americans who've died in 1 year in this pandemic than in World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War combined.
It's still going to be months and months of sacrifice, of work, of suffering, unfortunately, in order to get through the pandemic.
If you're trying to scare me, it won't work.
Over 90% of American stories were negative and therefore fear-invoking.
Fear will keep the local systems in line.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Under the guise of a real medical pandemic, we're really moving into a coup situation, a police state situation.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. I don't know if you saw the story in the Herald this morning, but speaking of Charlie Parker, there's one of his employees at Mass Health. Her name is Denise Foley, and she's from Milton, and she was the director of internal and external training and communication. $95,000 a year she was making. She has a son who's just was admitted to Virginia Tech. She's got to pay the tuition, but she was just fired from her job at Mass Health, despite getting commendations and citations as an excellent worker. And she had written on a Facebook, the Milton Neighbors Facebook group. Milton, believe it or not, has become a very woke community in recent years. The old days are over in Milton, and she was commenting on a mailer that some people in Milton had received about turning in neighbors who weren't wearing masks, and she wrote in the comment section, "How dare anyone try to take away my rights? I have the right not to wear a mask if I don't want to. If you have a problem, if that's a problem for you or anyone else, report me." And her comments were sent anonymously to her bosses at Mass Health. Anonymously. She was placed on a paid administrative leave and then terminated last month. It's just an outrageous story. I mean, where are her First Amendment rights? Free speech. I told her yesterday, where are your Sixth Amendment rights? That's the right to confront your accuser. She had none of that. She was just fired. And Mass Health has no comment. Joining us now on the line is Denise Foley. Thanks for being with us, Denise.
Howie, thank you for having me on.
So, I mean, how did this happen? I don't understand how you have no First Amendment rights. Everybody else in the world, I mean, if you took part, Charlie Baker basically says, you can riot at your, at will, and that's a First Amendment right of assembly. But you can't comment on a Facebook page that you have the right not to wear a mask without being fired. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. And, as I explained, my issue was with people being encouraged to call the police on their neighbors for not wearing masks. To me, that is wrong. And, it's not something that people should be encouraged to do. And is it really a good use of our police resources? I had to say something about it. And as far as my First Amendment rights, I should be entitled to make those comments without fear of losing my job.
Now, we talked about this off air yesterday. Is the problem that you just had your employer listed on your own Facebook page that kind of gave them the incentive to say that you were going against the official policy of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and to report you? Would you have had a problem if you hadn't had your employer listed on the Facebook page?
I would say probably not. If I had not listed my employment information on my Facebook profile, then there would have been no anonymous complaint made. So, yes, that would be the case.
Yeah, so you weren't in a union or anything like that?
No. I was a member of management, so I was not in the union.
So you had no way to grieve this firing, and there were no kind of hearings or anything like this. I mean, think about the state police that we write about in the Herald all the time. I mean, these guys commit all kinds of crimes and then go out with huge pensions because they have all these union protections, and they claim post-traumatic stress disorder and all this. And yet you get fired for just saying something that you would have said on a normal day to anybody you ran into on the street.
That's right. And I was not given the opportunity to speak on my own behalf. I was called into a meeting and on December 21st and told that there was a complaint filed on a Facebook post on my social media activities. They showed me the post and asked if I had any comment. And I said, well, I said what I said, that I think it's wrong for people to be calling the police on their neighbors for not wearing masks. That's what I said. And they said, do you have anything else to say? And I said, no, that's really all there is to it. I'm not encouraging anyone not to wear a mask. I'm just simply saying that it's not right for people to be calling the police on their neighbors. And then I didn't hear anything. I was not contacted. I tried reaching out, asking what the status of things were, what the process was, and all I got was it was under review. And then 6 weeks later, they called me into another meeting and terminated me.
But what did they say when they terminated you? Did they say, Denise, you had a good job with Mass Health. You have no First Amendment rights to go against the governor's official policy that all masks must be worn at all times. Did they say anything like that to you?
They said that because my position was listed on my Facebook profile, that my comments about masks could be taken as speaking on behalf of the agency.
Oh, come on. Boy, is that ridiculous.
Yeah, and
did you tell them that, how ridiculous that is?
Well, I didn't say quite that. No, I did say I was speaking as a private citizen and I have the right to make those comments. But that didn't matter.
508, I'm just looking at the text. These Karens would dox her even if she didn't list her employer. That's what I told you yesterday. I thought that they would probably have tracked you down anyway. You know, they probably know how to get onto the comptroller's website, and they would have just punched in Foley Denise and saw what saw how much you made and where you worked, and then ratted you out. I don't think anything. I mean, there's no such thing as diversity of opinion with these people. They just want to take you out.
It appears that way. And I actually have to say that I did see something earlier today where someone said, oh, this could not be the only reason that she was fired. There must have been other issues. There weren't. As you mentioned, I received an outstanding performance citation signed by Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito. I have an outstanding performance review from my boss at the time for my work that I did during my time with Mass Health. And also during the meeting in which I was terminated, Dan Tsai, who is the Assistant Secretary of Mass Health, actually thanked me for everything that I did for the organization.
He thanked you? And then he fired you?
Yes. So, I mean, this is not funny. I'm very, this has been a very stressful situation for me. As you mentioned, I have a son that is going to be, looking to go to college, and it's a very difficult situation, and it's caused a great deal of stress.
Have you reached out to a lawyer, or have any lawyers reached out to you since the story was in the paper today saying they will represent you? Do you have any legal counsel? I mean, this seems like a cut and dried case. I mean, Harvey Silverglade, who's a very good lawyer, I know him pretty well. Mm-hmm. He said that there's no reason why you should have been fired.
Right, and I have tried to contact attorneys. I've spoken with attorneys. No one has contacted me today, so I am still looking for someone. I do know that there's been some research done, and that, when it comes to the First Amendment, as a public employee, there are certain things that have to be checked, I guess is the best way to say it, to see if you meet First Amendment protection. And according to the attorney that I spoke with, I meet them. First of all, the speech has to be of public concern, and speaking as a private citizen, and that's what I did. So, and then there are some other things that need to be checked, and I met all the tests.
So is there any way
there is an issue here?
Is there any, if you're not a lawyer that's involved in civil rights issues, is there any way anyone else can help you in this matter?
I am open to suggestions.
Have you talked to? I know your state rep is, I think it's Driscoll, and your state senator is Timilty. Have you talked to them?
Mm-hmm. I have not.
I mean, they're kind of like Democrats that are beholden to the leadership. But I mean, this is really a constituent issue. I think this is an injustice has been done to one of their constituents.
I agree. Sure. So that's a very good suggestion, and I will reach out to them.
Okay. And I am going to put it out on the air. If any lawyers are listening and they want to help out Denise Foley, you can call our toll-free number 844-500-4242. We will put you in contact with Denise Foley, because I really hope you can get some help here, Denise. This is just so outrageous, especially when you think about what people have gotten away with and said, and been rewarded with state jobs, or not lost their state jobs, or gotten buildings in the city of Boston just after saying the most grotesque, racist, horrible things. And all you did was express your opinion about masks and said it was like Germany. in the old days. I mean, it's just not a firing offense. Denise Foley, I really hope we can help you get some kind of justice here and get your job back. Thank you, though. Thanks for being with us. We really appreciate it. And again, any lawyer who can help out Denise and wants her contact information, just leave a message with who's ever answering the phones, whether it's Matt or Alex or whoever, and we'll see if we can hook you up with Denise Foley. And she doesn't deserve this. Nobody deserves this kind of BS. 844-500-4242. If you haven't tried Super Beets Heart Chews, you are missing out. You need to you need to protect your heart health above all else. You know, they talk about all the deaths from COVID-19. Heart disease kills more people than any disease in America, including cancer, diabetes, leukemia, which form of it. Any disease, heart disease is the worst and the biggest killer. And that's why you need Super Beets Heart Chews. They're great for your heart health, for your circulation, and your blood pressure. Super Beets Heart Chews combine non-GMO beets with a powerful new ingredient, grapeseed extract. The grapeseed extract used in Super Beets Chews has been clinically shown to be twice as effective at supporting normal blood pressure as a healthy lifestyle alone. Better blood pressure means more energy the way nature intended without the jittery caffeine or stimulants. Now you can take just 2 delicious chews a day, anytime, anywhere, to get the blood pressure support you need and the energy you want. I take one before I go out on my bike ride, and then I take one during the show here. I'm going to take one as soon as I finish doing this spot. They really are delicious. Supplements like this have come a long way in the taste department. These are like the best supplements I've ever had as far as taste goes. You end up craving them almost. Yeah, and you don't have to worry about taking some unwieldy jar with you and then having to put it in a glass with a spoon and having to wash everything afterwards. You just take the foil off, pop it in your mouth, and that's it. You can stick them in your pocket when you leave for work in the morning. It's a great product, and it's a good deal is being offered right now. Do what I did and what Taylor did. Support your heart health with delicious Super Beets Chews. Get your Super Beets Chews today at superbeetsradio.com/Howie. And when you buy 2 bags, they'll throw in the third one for free. That's superbeetsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
When Howie's on, every radio is a magic radio.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of...
No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can also see you're in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice floral bouquet. A little I detected lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like to you? Tulips, yes. Floral bouquet.
Because if that's who they are, and if they are the extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just 1 scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
We are now effective today requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms. A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a flight to go see family out of state.
Some people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of the neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology. What they do.
On the radio and on the big screen, twice.
I am big. It's the picture that got small.
Howie Carr is back.
It's an epidemic of the woke wanting to dominate people, says 508. They get a rush out of dominating or even wrecking other people's lives. I think wrecking, they prefer to do that. It feeds the ego of sad, pathetic people. 844-500-4242, 781. Welcome to Charlie Parker's Massachusetts. This is on him. I agree. Where the heck is the ACLU? Crickets. Harvey Silverglade, who was quoted in the Herald today, he used to be a board member of the ACLU in Massachusetts, but I don't think he's involved anymore. 844-500-4242. Today's poll.
Go ahead.
Okay. Today's poll question is brought to you by Flowzite. Stop all the trips to the bathroom in the night. Order today at flowzite.com. FLOZYTE. Use code word Howie and save $10 and get free shipping. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Do you think most people are working remotely?
No, I don't think they are. I think they're on vacation. That's why the teachers' unions want to keep the vacation going.
73% say no.
All right. Some are, but not a lot. Ed, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Ed.
Hey, how you doing? I really feel for that woman. You know, I was thinking NAACP, but you guys, I think, hit it right with the ACLU.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be supporting people like this. You know, it's like the Second Amendment. They're banging the hell out of that.
Ed, they seem to not care about any of these issues anymore, the ACLU. The only thing they care about is hate speech. It's like they're in competition with the Southern Poverty Law Center or whatever the hell they call that thing. I mean, when Gina Raimondo, who's pulling the same stuff with these vaccines as Charlie Parker is while she awaits her appointment as a cabinet secretary, Commerce, when she started stopping people at the border because they were driving cars with New York license plates, everybody asked the same question. Where the hell is the ACLU? You can't do this under the Constitution. I think it's called Section 4, whatever it is, 2, Chapter 2 or whatever. And they had no comment. They didn't go to bat. They finally responded when they got a call from the Providence Journal, but they didn't say anything. I mean, stopping people from a different state from coming in because of the license plates on their cars. I mean, that was bad. This is even worse, though. Someone posts something on Facebook, a non-inflammatory, non-incendiary comment, probably they should be covered too. But in this case, it's just saying, you don't have to wear a mask. And that was it. That was enough to get her fired. $94,600 a year job out the window. Thanks for the call, Ed. Jack, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey, Howie, how you doing? Thanks for taking the call here. So listen, this is Ms. Foley here. First of all, she needs to file in U.S. District Court, okay? It's a civil rights violation of her First Amendment. If she goes to state court, all those judges work for Charlie Baker. She needs to file in federal court because, again, the wrongful termination based on what she stated, and the lesson here is get off of social media because nothing good comes out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of people have texted me since she was on the air and said, I just deleted my employer from my accounts. I think that's job one, Jack. And just a lot of people are hooked on it. They go home at night and that's the first thing to get off it altogether. And the second best way is to delete your employer. Make it harder for the social media trolls to dox you and destroy your career and your livelihood and your life. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr. Sig Sauer is hiring CNC machine operators, maintenance techs, quality inspectors, and more. Sig Sauer is offering competitive pay, multiple shifts, and for select positions, sign-on bonuses. If you'd like to join America's most highly respected firearms manufacturer, come to their drive-through job fair on February 27th, 9 a.m. to noon in Exeter, New Hampshire, for on-the-spot, socially distanced interviews right from your vehicle. Learn more at SigSauerCareers.com. That's SigSauerCareers.com. If you're thinking about a new RV this year, I've got 2 words of advice for you. Buy early. This is Howie Carr. With the popularity of camping growing and manufacturers' constraints, the earlier you shop, the better. Our friends at Cold Springs RV are ready for you. They have an indoor heated showroom and heated units outside for winter browsing. They are also ready to sell your current RV on consignment. Learn more at ColdSpringsRV.com or visit Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love. And to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big phony.
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my.
Everyone knows I love coffee and I'm not giving it up. I know that it would keep me up from time to time, but no longer with Balance 7. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. When it does this, you'll feel better, and I sleep better. Often I'm asked to try products and I can be very skeptical on their claims. But with Balance 7, it was all 100% true. With Balance 7, I didn't feel my energy starting to flag as the day wore on. Because by sleeping better at night, it also gave me mental clarity during the day. Balance 7 is a highly alkalizing concentrate. That means it reduces the acids that have built up in your body. Balance 7 is also known for reducing acid reflux and heartburn as it did for the mailroom manager. Balance 7 is made of safe, all-natural ingredients. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or sleep issues, you should give Balance 7 a try. Order the 8-ounce 12-pack supply at balance7.com. Put in code word Howie. You will save $10 and you'll also get free shipping. Balance7.com. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I got a text message the other day from a friend of mine who is no fan of most of what I've done over the course of the past 10 months.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panicked porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he was texting me from the hospital during a moment when he wasn't on a machine. And he got it at an event where no one wore masks. And he said, now that I have it, I get how brutal this can be.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow the science world, but it's the only world they know.
And honestly, I'm scared to death, not just for me, but for my family.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242-774. If only we had actual local news to cover this crap case. It's in the Herald. Well, I heard about it over the weekend, and I called her yesterday, and I knew immediately she was totally legit. And I called the Herald, and we got the story into the paper today. But I don't know if there's been any follow-up with anybody else. I mean, this is just really a bad thing that you could be punished for having this kind of opinion, and I think it's legit. I mean, who likes to wear masks? I mean, so could Fauci be fired for what he told 60 Minutes less than a year ago, saying that you don't need to wear a mask, that a mask is stupid? The previous Surgeon General said the same thing. So she's just saying what Saint Anthony Fauci said and what the previous Surgeon General, whose name I can't recall, said. And what any number of physicians have said privately, if not publicly. Some have said it publicly, but I mean, I think a lot of physicians are reluctant to say anything. Like the Johns Hopkins physician who wrote the op-ed piece for the Wall Street Journal. He didn't want to. He said a lot of the people he talks to at the hospital or the medical school feel the same way he does, that there's herd immunity, or there's going to very shortly be herd immunity, and there's no need for all this apocalyptic talk to continue, and lockdowns must go on, and you got to wear double masks, and it doesn't matter how many times you've been vaccinated. The variants are going to kill us, and the mutants are going to kill us. It's just fear-mongering. That's all it is. It's an attempt to by the deep state to retain control. They don't want to give up power. This is a real trip. I mean, can you imagine firing somebody because of their opinion about a mask? That's real power. It's an abuse of power. I wouldn't want to do it. Why would you want to ruin someone's life because they have an opinion that you disagree with? And I dare say there is no more empirical evidence for the use of masks than there is for the non-use of masks. Mark, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Howie. Judicial Watch is suing the town of Dedham, the principal, the superintendent, and some school board people. They fired the football coach, and so I would say this woman, you might want to get in touch with them, but they fired him because he exercised his right as a citizen to raise concern about his daughter's history class. They're teaching all kinds of gender stupid stuff, and it was an ancient history class, and so he began to speak up against it. And they brought him in, had a meeting, and in the process of it, the school board texted the principal and the superintendent, said, what are we going to do about this? They fired him. And so there's a lawsuit with Judicial Watch is involved with that. And so could this woman be involved with the same kind of thing?
Yeah, I think she could. I think she may have actually reached out to Judicial Watch. I didn't hear that from her, but I thought the person who initially pointed me towards this story mentioned Judicial Watch. And there are a number of law public interest law firms like Judicial Watch that will get involved in these kind of cases. I think she can find somebody especially now that it's been picked up in the public press. It would be nice. You know, the problem with the Herald is it's behind a paywall. If we could just get somebody like like when we wrote the story about the city of Boston medical director for the Public Health Commission working from Hawaii. I mean, it didn't get much traction until it got picked up by a free website. I hate to say this, the Herald's got to stay in business some way, but when Just the News picked it up, it went around the world very quickly. And I hope someone nationally picks this story up, because this is really ridiculous what happened to this woman. And as you can tell, she's not hysterical. She's not an ideologue. She's not an insurrectionist, to use the popular word of the day. Thanks for the call, Mark. 844-500-4242. Lawrence, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Lawrence.
Howie, if they're going to fire Foley, then maybe the people of the Commonwealth can fire the IT management of the Commonwealth. I was part of a team in the early 2000s for John Hancock. We installed a health and life portal, first one for John Hancock. We only had 145,000 users in the agency force that had to get on at, as you know, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. on Monday morning with all the time zones. Let me mention the idea that a website crashing because of too many people is a excuse. You do not build websites without capacity planning. And let me say this, my QA team used a tool, the one we used was called Load Runner. We simulated 11 to 15,000 users trying to log in at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And based on those statistics, we bought more server space and bandwidth. And that's what you do when you know what you're doing about
let's not even consider the website. Charlie Parker today, and Taylor, if you could find the cut where he said it, he said they get 130,000 doses a week from the feds, 130,000 doses a week from the feds. And he said 450,000 people in Massachusetts want those 130,000 doses. So I think the logical question, which a lot of texters and I'm sure a lot of listeners driving around in their cars are thinking the same question, is if you only have 130,000 doses to give out, why did last week he double the number of people that could apply for the doses?
The lack of supply that's attached to the issue associated with vaccines is a tremendously anxiety-provoking issue. When you get 450,000 requests for new first-dose vaccines each week, and you have 130,000 first-dose vaccines that are available, that creates anxiety. And when you have 1 million people who are eligible to get a vaccine, and you only get 130,000 first doses a week, that creates anxiety.
So again, Charlie Parker, the question recurs. If you only have 130,000 doses, wouldn't you be better off keeping the number of people who are eligible at around 200 or 250,000 rather than increasing it to 450,000 people? Am I missing something here, Taylor?
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't have a...
I think they just built it, bass backwards. You're right. They did the wrong part first. You should reserve a spot first, then you fill out all your information. That's how it should work. But, I mean, there are disadvantages to that too, but eventually everything will filter out. If somebody is not eligible after they click and reserve their ticket, they get booted out of the system, that spot becomes available again. So
right. And then it's just like a lottery, right? You just, when you just happen to hook in at the right time, then you grab that one slot that opened up because someone was trying to get it who wasn't eligible, right?
It's, not everybody's going to be happy with whatever system they come up with. But when you have a system that doesn't work at all, yeah, nobody's going to be happy. That's where the problem is.
No, I know. And he keeps talking about it. We're number one in our what do you call it? Our class, our sector,
our peer group.
Our peer group. That's it. Our peer group. I crumpled up the paper I wrote it on. Our peer group.
We continue to be the number one state in the country among our peer states.
Okay, so I assume that would include Florida then, right? Because Florida's the third largest state. Massachusetts is probably like 14th, 15th, something like that. Used to be number 8 or 9 when I was in high school. Now you can see why it's going down. But I see a lot fewer complaints in Florida than I do in Massachusetts. So how great can they be in terms of their peer states if they're getting all these complaints? 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. 617 says, we all have to keep fighting. Please put together a list of legal resources. We're all going to need it. We need it to every organization, every business, every local government that ever tries to quash our free speech and ruin our lives. P.S. I'm in Milton as well and fit to be tied. Like I said, I think Milton has changed a lot over the last few years. You've had a lot of beautiful people moving into Needham from various places, and not just. It used to be people move into Milton from Boston, but now they're coming from wherever, and it's the same thing that's happening to a lot. I mean, Milton, I would say, it was controlled by Democrats, but they were not AOC type Democrats. They were more Steve Lynch or Brian Donnelly in the old days, Democrats. And those Democrats are the minority. I mean, they hang on in some ways. You know, Driscoll is like a third generation hack, I guess. And, Timothy is a fourth generation hack. But I mean, those guys are like, they're the last of their breed. The next politicians in Milton will be like the whoever ratted out poor Denise Foley. 844-500-4242. If you're tired of waking up in the middle of the night over and over again to use the bathroom, then you need Flowzite. Flowzite is an all-natural prostate health capsule that will decrease your bathroom trips. All those bathroom trips are not good for your health. We all need a certain number of uninterrupted hours of sleep each night. By taking Flowzite, you will get more sleep, and a better night's sleep is better for your health. Flowzite has helped me, and it can help you too. Order now at flowzite.com. That's FLOZYTE.com. FLOZYTE.com. When you put in the code word Howie, you will save $10 and receive free shipping. Stop all the bathroom trips tonight. I'm Howie Carr.
He's New England's talk radio king. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by J.T. Kelly, real estate broker at Keller Williams, who helped my daughter find a house. The 2021 housing market is already on fire. Contact him at
1-800-364-9200.
Taylor, let's have the Naomi Wolf cuts ready to go if we need them.
This is Charlie Baker.
Sure. Thanks.
Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I can't tell you how many times in the past couple of months somebody I know has told me a story.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panicked porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
Somebody I know has told me a story about how they got it, and it all goes back every single time to some informal gathering where nobody wore masks, nobody kept their distance, and the virus spread.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world. But it's the only world they know.
I mean, it's pretty common at this point that that's where a big piece of this is coming from.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, That's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
He's the first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
The Howie Carr Show.
508, is it true that Charlie's vac site sucks because he put all the A-level programmers on how to prop up his approval ratings despite his piss-poor performance? I just wish he'd put as much effort into setting up this website as he did into setting up all the snitch lines. How many snitch lines do we have in this Commonwealth?
Wait, were these web developers former coal miners who had to learn how to code?
Apparently, some of these companies that are passing out the vaccine were just set up a few weeks ago, and they always talk about, well, you know, it's a disgrace that West Virginia has such a smooth running site compared to Massachusetts, because West Virginia is usually considered to be a poverty stricken state. But apparently, the company that runs West Virginia's rollout is from Cambridge. Believe it or not. Does Charlie ever hear of the People's Republic of Cambridge? I think he used to live there for 4 years anyway. And somehow we didn't get that company that's doing such a bang up job for West Virginia. We got these other companies that just, when it came into existence just a few years ago. And again, I wish maybe he could have put some of the people that he was sending into the supermarkets at Thanksgiving to check out, to make sure people weren't buying turkeys that were too large for what he had decreed they should be buying for Thanksgiving. Maybe he could have put them on the website rollout. Is that possible? Maybe he could have devoted less time to his press conferences, telling people not to go out for New Year's Eve, not to invite their neighbors over, not to invite their neighbors over for Super Bowl parties. Maybe he could have devoted less time to working on the plexiglass designs for the bars, where you could only keep the plexiglass. You had to have less than 8 inches or less than 10 inches above the bar itself. But instead they were doing all those stupid things rather than working on setting up a vaccine distribution system. Richard, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Richard.
Hey, I got two things. If I were that woman, sir, if I was the boss of Massachusetts, whoever reported that woman, I'd fire her tomorrow. Then the second thing is, a long time ago, I remember you talking and bitching and moaning about why people drive in the left-hand lane. And I've done a lot of driving, and it's taken me a long time. But one time I'm going out early Sunday morning.
What happened?
It's not story time.
All right. Thanks, Richard. Rocky, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rocky.
Hey, Howie, I was almost in tears in my man cave here in Parker, talk about people with high anxiety because they couldn't get the shot and everything else. But,
right.
How about the families of all the people and grandparents that were murdered under his watch? Do you think their families have anxiety? I didn't hear him talk about that.
I don't know if they actually could say they were murdered, Rocky, but I know what you mean. They died in nursing homes. It's still over 50% of the people that are dead in Massachusetts are dead in nursing homes. And, you know, you're right. The high anxiety about not being able to get the vaccines. Who induced this high anxiety with a year of hysterical panic porn press conferences, noon after noon after noon, live on local TV, and talking about how people were dying and dropping in the streets and you couldn't go to work and you had to wear a mask and the schools had to be shut down and you couldn't go to church, you couldn't go to the gym, you couldn't get a haircut, you couldn't go to the bar. You had to go one way in the supermarket aisles. You couldn't return your bottles for 6 months. And then he says, "Why people are worried about this? Why the hell would they be worried?" It's just that, you know, he's like the guy who murders his parents and throws himself on the mercy of the court as an orphan. You know, why are they so concerned about not getting the virus? 844-500-4242, 508. You do realize the Boston media are running stories today about how popular Parker is. The Herald is running a story about Boston cracking down on restaurants. Yeah, I know they cracked down on some of my favorite restaurants today. They issued citations for all these restaurants, and then why were they issuing citations? Oh, they were open a little late. They were, you know, I guess this was when the closing time was still 10 o'clock. And you know, these restaurants are struggling to survive, and they're hitting them with either warnings, or in the case of 4 of them, they're suspending their licenses. And this is just a week. This story breaks in the Herald about the restaurants being cited. This was a week after they shut down the 3 really nice restaurants in Kenmore Square, including the Eastern Standard, which I told you we used to broadcast from there every Tuesday night when the Red Sox were in town during the summer. It was just a nice restaurant, and not just during baseball season. You know, you go in there, it was a nice, warm, cozy place in the winter, and it was well furnished. It was a very popular place, and nothing, and it's gone. It's gone for what? Charlie Parker doesn't care. He's just totally insensitive. And he complains. Not this time, but last week he complained, "I know how tough it is for people. You know, you should see the mail I get from businesses. You're putting them out of business. You're making $250,000 a year. You haven't missed a paycheck. You get driven back and forth to your mansion in Swampscott, and you're complaining because people have the audacity to tell you, 'Hey, Charlie Parker, you're putting me out of business for no damn reason.'" 844-500-4242. Let's see, 603. A new T-shirt idea. Charlie Parker has killed more people than Ted Kennedy's car. I'll stop. We don't need that. All right. 844-500-4242. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Howie Carr.